Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Starbase Weekly, the RGV aerial deep dive into images he captured from the ground and air in Boca Chica, Texas. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. Channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Starbase Weekly. My name is Mauricio. This is episode 59. I'll pass this along to Indian Star or Zach.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Zach, as Mauricio said, and we have a really exciting show for you all today. As you know, we've gone the last, two shows without a flyover, and the drought is finally over, as you can tell by this image. Actually, it does look kind of dry, depending on where you're looking. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And we also have Thomas with us.
Hey, Zach, it's going to be a great week again because all these images are great. We have so many things happening. There's a lot to talk over. So I guess the next up, Grandpa Joe.
Hey guys, thanks for having me along. I'm excited to be here for another great week, and finally got those clouds cleared up, and we can see all the rockets we want. And with that, I think back to Zach. You're driving today.
Awesome. Well, yeah, as he said, let's hop right in. As you all know, there's been a ton of updates this week. Some of them aren't really visible until we get in the air, so that's always exciting to get these updated images. So why don't we go ahead and start over at the Massey site per usual, which happens to be the busiest place at Starbase right now.
Oh, we did forget somebody, actually. Dave. We have Dave as well with us today. He'll be in and out, but we do have him if he's wants to say hi. I guess he's not here.
I thought Dave said he was
He'll
gonna
be in
be
and
here.
out.
I'm gonna be in the background.
There you are. Hey, Dave.
Dave's our researcher.
He's
the
like,
guy
man,
who
I'm trying to get
actually
work done. Well, yes. So the Massey site, as always, looking pretty changed every time we see it. And just to let everybody know, so the flyover that Mauricio did was actually on Monday. So it's been about 5 days since the flyover, but luckily with the Masseys, we have also aerial pictures from yesterday from the drone pics. So we'll be able to compare 5 days difference between shots and at this location. So yeah, I mean, it's Pretty obvious. I guess the big elephant in the room is this little pad in the middle. So why don't we start there?
All that is just beautiful. So what we're looking at is the new pad for what we've been talking about is going to be the cryo station.
Trying to
Um,
remember, did they drill a lot of caissons down there to support some weight or?
yeah, yeah, that's what we're
Yeah.
seeing right now is the caissons, and then they've got rebar sticking out of that. So we have the basically the pad before it's being built. It's just the foundations, the underlayment of the foundations, really.
So
Yeah.
all those deep wells of concrete support all the concrete on top, and that means they are putting something heavy right there.
Yeah, and I saw like at least 6 caissons that were drilled in, but they're kind of weird angles and now it's like, oh, this makes perfect sense. It is a circle, and I was thinking it was going to be like some sort of hexagon shape or something, and it really is a hexagon. But you can actually see that they have a defined perimeter as well. You can even see on the left hand side that little orange line, and then even on the interior, you can see like 2 orange circles, just barely there, with a very much like in the very center, that little orange spot. It's like those are the perimeters of each area for the concrete, for like where they want to stop and start for the, let's say, uh, the panels that they do when they concrete everything over.
Oh, nice. And they have a little laser tripod right there in the middle.
Yeah.
So I hope they left room for an eventual future water deluge if they ever wanted to add one here. They got to think ahead sometimes.
Well, it's kind of both directions. Like they could go always to the direction of a Raptor test stand, but not right here. So right here is going to be what appears to be a cryo station, um, and it's just like crazy. So you mentioned earlier we have pictures from today, or I'm sorry, Monday and yesterday. So that would have been Friday. So double the pictures, double the fun. This is going to be like just a jaw dropping as how much improvement has been made in those few days.
Yeah, and just skipping ahead, I'm not going to show all the rest of it, but yeah, you could see what they had done in between those 2 days, or sorry, 5 days in between that. So, um, number one, they had poured the base pad underneath there, and immediately after that, started forming up this pad in the center, which looks an awful lot like um, most of the storage locations that we see for starships. This one is a little bit different just because of the plates that are in the center. I wonder if we have a better angle of that actually. Honestly, with the aerial shots from 10,000 feet tend to give us a little bit more detail, but you guys should still be able to see the outline of this um, these metal plates that are on here. And I think we actually saw these last week, right?
Yeah, we did. We were kind of speculating that they would form a shape like this. We probably thought they were more on the outside on the inner ring. So like there's those little trapezoid shapes that not trapezoid, the little, I can't remember the rhombus. No, shoot, whatever the square shape is. It's shorter on one side than it is on the other.
Right.
We thought that the circle would be on the outside, but no, it's very much on the inside, and it's got the 6 pads that will be forming, so it will be for Starship on this one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Here's
Um,
here's a thought. Here's a thought that I have really quick. I want to skip over to. I don't know if there's one over here at Sanchez right
well,
now.
just go to the right a little bit.
Check this out. Check this out. Hold on.
Okay.
Um, so if we look at the booster transport stands, they have one, two, three. They have six pedestals. Wait, am I missing
They've
one?
got
One, two. I can't see the other side. Aren't they six? Is it either six or eight? I believe it's six though.
for Cryo Station, I think they have a total of like 12 or something
But
weird like
what
that.
I'm thinking is with the booster, we haven't truly. So the cryo station that we saw for at the launch site is a little bit different as far as like what kind of pads are on the ground. So I feel like we kind of have to like change what we're expecting out of it a little bit. Um, I mean, if you kind of see the way these are spaced out, it almost looks like a booster transport stand would sit on these.
Well, if you scroll over to the right, that question kind of gets answered pretty quickly. So, what are they doing over here? They're drilling again. They've got an entire new pad. You can see 4 caisson holes closer to the
Where?
bore.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
I was
they're
looking for that
building
too.
another pad right here.
Okay, so let's go look at this one and just see how many holes there were on the edge. So there was what, 6? Or is that, yeah, 6 of them?
Yeah, that's about 6 or
6.
yeah.
And they're only like 4 in so far on this.
Yeah, at least we could see the 4. They could have already covered up 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, there could be some behind there that we're not able to see. Yeah,
Oh,
so
or they're
now
just
looks
not
like,
ready for it yet, so they'll move it around and go wherever they need to. But it's kind of big news. It's like we've got 2 of these. We've got 2 pads at the launch site for cryo stations. They are basically moving all the cryo stations and all of that here. We have the at least for the nitrogen side, we've got that. We have oxygen. At least those tanks are labeled as oxygen. So we should be able to have a cryo station here, and that's pretty big news on this part for those 2 spots. And there's plenty of space in between, so who knows what else is going on there? You could do something else there, even it's like a Raptor stand. It's like you've got a couple of
Ready for it, yeah,
cryo
so
stations, and then you could eventually throw in a Raptor stand there, or pretty much anywhere else on site. You just need the methane tanks
right.
for that.
Just put it over the river. There you go. No need to rebuild.
We got our own water deluge system. You could do vertical. Perfect.
And one thing I've been noticing about this, if we look at this manifold that's set up in here, you can see these are basically valve stations. So um, they'll split the flow off into what I believe is probably 3 different testing stations because there's 3 different manifolds. Um, so I can't really tell just by the way this is set up whether these are all meant to handle individual fluids or um, if all if each manifold handles 2 different fluids. It's hard to tell, but seeing that there's at least 3 of them kind of makes me think that we're going to see 3 test stands. Um,
Yeah, very well may could be that because it's interesting. Like the valve systems you have here, you do have 3 of them, but there's 2 on the left that are similar. The third one on the right though
completely
is
different. Yeah.
different. Yeah, and so what we could also be looking at is um, left to right could be like nitrogen, LOX, methane. It's like that methane one. It's like not ready. We're going to do that later, but these 2 for nitrogen and LOX, that could be the other direction. We really do need the pipework to be connected all the way through.
Well, on that note, actually thinking about it, if they don't do methane here at all, like no engine testing, then this could just be pre-press.
Yeah, so it's just gases,
Yeah, just gases.
and it would explain the diameter of pipe. You don't need so much diameter there.
And these are insulated, right? At least they kind of
Looks
look
to
like it.
be.
And these are definitely not. So, um, yeah, that would make sense actually. Well, in that case, maybe there's only two stands because there it just splits off into 2 directions. Um,
Well, I mean,
either
you've got a
way,
whole other side of it too, where it's like, well, what's going on behind them? You do
oh,
have
on this
some
side,
sort of box behind it. It looks like it's a control system, and it's like, well, okay, you can control plenty from there. You could do multiple valve bodies here on this pad.
wait, what is this?
It's just like a control station for activating the valves and everything like that. It's the electrical equipment basically.
Like the equivalent of a bunker? Hold
Yeah,
on, let me get a better image.
it's just a mini bunker. Looks like they
Okay.
even have put up an antenna over there as well, so that they can receive communications as well. Or it's a lightning. Oh, it's a lightning tower. Sorry.
Is that connected to this building?
No, that would be separate. That's just protection. So it's not transmitting. It's just receiving static electricity, grounding it, preventing lightning from occurring. And if it does occur, it goes through there, and not anything else nearby.
This almost looks like it's going to stand up on that pad, if not for this being there.
Oh no, no, it's this is on the flat side down. The door is on the other side.
Is there a concrete pad underneath this?
I don't think so. So it could move around. It could go on this pad here, but oh, that's gonna be an interesting one if it does move over. But yeah, this would be for the electrical system. So it's our electrical bunker. That's a mini bunker. You might have a computer or two in there as well to go through and run things and be redundant.
Yeah. See, this is very interesting. One way that there could be a third station is if they move it over here. Uh, and they've kind of peeled back this concrete, but that was clearly for the second cryo station. Um, but yeah, I mean, based on what they have on this side of the tank farm, um, we've already established that this is roughly, uh, I mean, this is twice as large right now as the suborbital tank farm. So that means they could at least test two ships. Um, but there are three more tanks coming, and we don't know where those are going yet.
I mean, they
So
could go just to the right. They could even go to the
yeah,
left.
I've been thinking
They
that
could go
like
to the launch site.
you see this little joint right here makes me think that this could break off into a fourth tank right there. But um, I don't know because these are different kind of tanks than the ones that are coming, right? The other ones aren't ribbed like this.
Right.
I guess that doesn't really mean anything because they'll just use whatever they have available to them. But yeah, I mean, it is a possibility that two more can fit here. I think at least one.
It also depends on how long they are. I haven't measured these tanks compared to those ones. We do have shipping containers and other things to base that off of. We can get pretty accurate measurements there. But like these ones look to be like the ones on the left, probably about 75-ish meters.
And these are more similar to what's on the barge, right?
Or sorry, 55 meters. Yeah, those look very close to the ones on the barge.
Shall we go ahead and take a look at the barge?
Absolutely. So the small ones are 55 feet. The large ones, I haven't really measured those.
Yeah. So Mauricio got out there on uh, yesterday to catch the barge as it arrived. So we got this nice little framed aerial shot of them right here. You can see the three horizontal storage tanks, which definitely appear to be shorter, like those ones that we saw on the bottom side, or the I guess you'd call it the left side. They look similar to these ones. Um, but yeah, then you have these basically everything else on here other than this transport stand um, is related to the water deluge. So we'll kind of get into that later. But yeah, these three tanks right here, I don't really see them making any moves to add those in over here yet.
So,
Thomas,
back now,
for reference in that last picture, Miss Lizzie, who is the tug there, is 78 feet long.
Nice. And now you've got the transport stand as well, just to the left. And those are about what, 12 meters?
Yeah, this random booster transport stand that
No, they're just over 9.
hey,
Right. And your
just
thing sits on
backing up for a second, for anybody unfamiliar, I'm sorry, the Cape Canaveral facility that SpaceX operates had all these components, and they loaded them on a barge in Florida, loaded them across the Gulf, and this is it arriving here in Texas. Just to get a little context for anybody who hadn't been keeping up.
Yeah, it's been about almost 2 weeks since they left Kennedy, and that was so exciting. We're like sitting there watching and waiting for these to arrive. It's like Christmas all over again.
yeah. While we're over here, actually no, I'm going to come back to those images. Let's keep talking about Massey's. But um, so another interesting thing about this that we've noticed is looking at this area over here. Um, they have slowly been getting rid of all of this equipment. And actually, I think when Mauricio came back, there was less clouds. So let's move over to another one. So you can see what all the equipment storage looked like over here. And now when we look at some of the more recent images, you can see that pretty much everything is gone.
It's been cleaned out. Like we even saw inside of the tent really well for the first time. And zoom in on it real quick, inside the tent, and it's the
Oh,
funniest thing ever.
from that angle.
Yeah, yeah.
This one.
Either of those angles will work. You just zoom right in, and you can see the shells are empty. We're like, "Oh, what's in there? We've never really looked at it," and it's like, "There's nothing in there.
Yeah,
It's
the first
empty."
time we get a view of it, it's just empty.
But yeah, even
Yeah.
the shelves behind it, we knew that they were pulling stuff out. Now the only things left are the shelving, the tent, and some shipping containers, and then maybe a couple of pipes in the back, but that's it. And some flaps off in the corner, but those are just I guess they're souvenirs. They love to collect flaps.
Wow. I'm just wondering like what they'll do in this back area right here.
I mean, it's fully open. The only thing that will stay is that water treatment plant in the bottom right corner now. Like that's the only thing that will guaranteed has to stay. It's like they have plenty of water coming from here. It's all set up. It's coming from the Rio. They have agreements. It's fenced in, so nobody else is allowed in here.
I don't see the
It's off to the up part right over there. That's like that little buoy says this is our area where we collect water from in that general vicinity.
Actually, I believe that little buoy is the end of the collection pipe.
this.
The little red buoy that looks like
That's
a
what I was looking for.
ice chest that got left in the water. Anthony from Rocket Ranch took his boat over there because he was going to pick it up as trash, and then realized it was anchored and performing a function.
Well, he's a
And
good guy for cleaning up the trash and not taking that.
yeah, this is going to be interesting. So one of the things that I've been wondering, this is this pad will actually end up. It almost looks like it'll be sitting higher than the surroundings a little bit. So I'm
They
guessing that.
dug down in order to get down to here, so you've got a little bit of a berm on the left and right, and that's going to be backfill. They're going to bring back in, but they did take out some of the dirt, and that will be where the concrete's going to be at. So it will be pretty tall. It'll be basically up to those pads right there, and that those pads are basically up against the rebar, just a little bit taller, maybe about 1 or 2 inches or so. And then you can see at the very edge where the rebar ends at. So go down to the edge of the rebar, then up just a little bit higher, and that's how tall the concrete will eventually be.
Pretty crazy how fast they're moving on this too. Um, it seems like
Yeah.
they're in a rush to get it done.
Well, the orbital fuel farm is basically now going to be off limits for them for cryo because they have all their testing, they have all of their upgrades. It's slowing them down to have the launch pad closed when they need to build the launch pad or the orbital launch table or any of those things. So all their launch activities and testing activities that are for the booster, unless it's a cryo related or like cryo related stuff, will all happen here. And that cryo basically will help clean out the booster or starship. That's a big deal because there's all sorts of contaminants inside in the walls, just like dust or little bits of steel or pieces that you want to get rid of. So you're able to take all of that and flush it through the system, and it basically is boiling off the let's say liquid oxygen or liquid nitrogen, and that boiling action basically scrubs the surface clean. That's something that NASA has studied very well, and I think Dave has talked about it before as well. It's a really fascinating process. Um, but the that part, as well as going through checking for leaks and everything else that they do with the testing, it's very useful to have that. So I know that Blue Origin, let's say for instance, they've built full facilities that are vertical, like high bay equivalent, just to do the cleaning for their vehicles, and they've got massive amount of plumbing and other things. And it's like this is the simplest solution to the problem.
Well, just expanding on that a little bit. Part of the reason why the cryo station at the uh, launch site has this drain pipe right here is, well, number one, because they can't pump it back to these tanks. There's no pumps over here. Obviously, they could install some, but instead it just drains. And the reason for that is because um, you want to, when you're cleaning out the booster, you want to be able to drain it out here. So that's why we saw booster 8, or sorry, booster 9 tested here instead of on the launch pad first.
And what's in there is not going to be the best of material to reuse, anyways, especially at the
Right.
beginning and the end of the flow. So the stuff at the bottom of your tank that settles there, you don't typically want that. And the stuff at the top that's floating at the top, you don't want that either.
I would definitely be at least examining what came out of that pipe to go, are we losing parts? Are we, what residue is building up? I would study that a little, just be like, what's going on in this thing?
Yeah.
Just
I
let's
mean,
just get a big ground cloth and a bunch of kiddie pools equivalent. And we can figure out what's going on.
How did a turbo pump end out here?
I got a fan blade for a turbo pump. What?
yeah, unfortunately, we're not allowed to get that close anymore. I could go collect it for them and let them know what's happening. So, um, I guess continuing on, we do have another little concrete pad getting poured over here in the back. This one doesn't look to be too special. Just seems like a normal deep pad, except it doesn't have the other supports that that these ones do underneath it. So probably won't be holding that much weight. Um,
I speculate actually the nose cone jail probably will sit here, and so they can do multiple testing from the can crusher, and they'll have a nice little crane pad in the between, and then you could do nose cone testing right here.
that would make sense. Yeah, leave your crane right here, and then um, this would probably get extended. I'm guessing. Well, nose cone testing you wouldn't really need cryo fluid, but I guess you would need potentially gases to pressurize it.
That's if they even go that route. They could just say, well, it's at nominal 0 bar. We can calculate in what it would be if it's basically 1 bar differential. It's not going to be a perfect simulation in that sense, but at least you have the ability to test it either way if you want to here.
Yeah. I mean, this is exciting to see the progress out here. They're definitely moving super quick. Let's keep going over to the left. Um, so we have the obviously the frame for the ship QD, which is chilling right here. Um, and these down here, we believe are embeds
Yeah, those should be
for
embeds.
the
It's just
pad.
where do they go? That's the thing that really throws me off. Like they could be for a lot of different things. Like you could do nose cone jail if you wanted. There's plenty of areas that you can embed with that. Uh, you could be in looking at embeds for, let's say, the booster transport stand. Like they just decided, well, we're going to do these kinds of embeds instead.
Don't forget, we need embeds for the QD.
Yeah, it's about the same size as the QD, but there's way too many just for the QD here. There's each one. It's got like there's 6 on the closest to us, and another 4 it appears. So we've got like 10 of these.
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see when I'll be won't be surprised if another one of these shows up. Without if it does, that will tell us a lot if they're going to only be testing booster or ships here, or if there will also be booster tests here. Um, but yeah, we're gonna have to be on the lookout for that. What would be interesting is if they converted the suborbital test stand at the test stand A so that it could do uh, booster cryo tests as well.
I mean, you could technically do that. It's just you have to have a QD system to be able to mount to do that.
Right.
And like one thing that you can do that you have a couple of pieces of here are flex pipes. You've got flex pipes at the bottom right corner and then up at the top next to the yellow towel loader. They're basically just these loops, and we've seen tons of these around lately. They are just everywhere. We've got them now at the launch site, at Sanchez and Massey's, and just everywhere. Yeah. So I think they found really good deals on flex pipe.
So let's move a little bit more to the. Oh, that's not the left. I guess let's put this on the other side. That might actually be most of all the updates we have over here. I don't know if there's more in the backside, which is more dirt they're moving around, but not really a whole lot of changes over here.
And some of this is
Um,
backfill that they will need to bring back over to the the concrete area to the right. So they've got some, but they need to just regrade everything after they're done, and some of this will be used for that.
Yeah,
And
then
then,
back to oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
and then one other thing is look at the chiller or the sorry, the vaporizers. Like we still have one laying down, but we've got six of them, and they're pretty much almost all done.
Yeah, you can see the little pad right there for it to go on top. They just need to bring a crane back there and lift it. But
Yeah, and you can't see the two behind the other three. They're
this angle,
just hiding. Yeah,
yeah, the shorter ones.
yeah, but they're there. It just looks like these just shorter, and it's amazing like how fast they are going with all of this. Like they've got all the flex lines that they need going for this side. It's almost all done, but it's still in the works. And at the same time they're doing this, they've been they've been setting up pipes elsewhere. So like they have been really knocking things out.
We got some questions and donations if it's a good time to go over them.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first donation here is from Scat 1975, 20 pounds. Thank you for that. Jim Cavett, $5. All aboard, starting the train here. Thank you for that. 55 Chevy guy, $5. I'm helping to get this donation trade in Shuggin. Flight costs are expensive. Thank you, 55 Chevy guy. Yasada, $5. Big developments at Massey's. Thank you for that. Sharpie, $10. Enjoying this immensely. Thank you, RGV. Rocket Profit, $10. Starbase Weekly is always the best part of my Saturday. Thank you. Same here. And Aster Joe, $10. Party Train, my favorite time of the week. Thanks, Mauricio. And we got another one from Mauser, 58907, $10. I like to party. Thank you, Mauser.
It's
Stephanie
true, he
B.
does.
Uh, Here's the first question. Actually, let me go over the other donations. James Wilson, $10. Likes help pay the bills. Please click that like. Yes, please give us a like. Uh, really appreciate that. Cranky Old Man, 65, $10. All aboard. Aboard the train for Sunny Biscuits, flight time, power for the drone. Thank you for all you do, RGB. Thank you, Cranky Old Man. JK Video, $10. Keep it going. Nose Cone Gel, $10. Great photos, amazing. That's the actual username, Nose Cone Gel.
Nice.
Jim Cavett, $5. I'm aboard. Thank you for that. And now for some questions. First one is from Stephanie B. The tank farm at Massey's could be to handle booster cryo testing.
Yeah, it would be for the crowd testing for the Starship and the booster. At least that's what we're seeing right now. That there is the evidence to say yes, this is happening. That's what's going to be happening. Now, whether there can be more or not, we haven't seen that evidence or not. So it's like there could still be Raptor test stands in the future, but right now we've got two cryo stations, can crusher, and the potential nose cone jail to be tested here. So multiple tests at all different times. So basically, it's the Massey's testing site now. That's what I've been calling it lately because it's like it describes everything right there. It's
Right.
Massey's. It's a testing site. Perfect.
I really like to imagine it's like any large bureaucracy where you have competing groups and they're like, you know what, you guys go off to your own little, you do your testing over there so the real engineers can do our stuff here. They're just all smack talking each other.
We
That's
got a couple
funny.
more. We got the next question here from Sharpie. Are the Hippos still at Massey's? And no, they're not. They're at Sanchez now. Both of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll get to those here too.
They've been at Massey's for like my whole life.
Well, they were at the let's see here the suborbital pad for a little bit. Then they made their way over to the tracking station where they lived for ages, and then they made their way to Sanchez, and then they made their way to Massey's, and now they're back to Sanchez again.
They are some very well traveled hippos.
Next
Uh,
thing you'll know, they go to the launch site and then to the build site.
I'm just glad they didn't put them in the Rio Grande. The last thing we need is hippos there. Um, anybody think they'll ever actually be installed at the fuel farm for the at the orbital launch?
Those two
Maybe.
hippos, probably not.
Oh, I was holding out hope for them.
Before the orbital launch.
No, no, no. At some point at the orbital launch fuel farm.
Oh, well, in that case, maybe it depending on what their use is. It's like they won't be probably used for the fuel, but they could be used for other conditioning.
Yeah, it is interesting that they don't have anything like that over here yet.
That's
I mean,
true.
you're actually a pretty good answer. You probably have pretty good answers on what you would think they would use it for. You've worked with these things, right?
Oh yeah, and I mean, I assume just with my knowledge of what they are that if they wanted more volume of methane, they would use these hippos at like on the methane side. They have pedestals, they have everything ready to go there. They if they needed more cooling, they could slap another hippo there. They could put another on the oxygen side. All they need to do is plumb it in. Uh, so right now, one of their bottlenecks with fueling the vehicle is how rapidly they can cool everything down and get those and having more hippos and more pumps would allow them to have more throughput and it would make their launch cadence all the better. It also helps with keeping the fuel at the proper temperature prior to launch. You can't have it too cold or too hot. And depending on how rapidly you fuel it, yeah, there's a lot of ins and outs to the engineering behind that. And if they want to increase their availability, then yeah, they need to add some more. So I figured they were going to add them a long time ago. So we'll see what happens in the future.
All right.
So I'm thinking about that, and it's like preconditioning or even super chilling. That's incredible to think about for those hippos just to be extra chilled.
Yeah. You got to be careful though, because if you go too cold, you can freeze methane into methane ice.
Yeah, it's like negative 182 Celsius is that, and so they typically are dealing with around negative 180 C.
Yeah. The idea is to get it as dense as possible without freezing it and make it the right density for the engines. You don't you gotta they're engineered just for a certain band.
So, little observation here. So these compressed gas tanks on on the side right here, these are similar to what is on the roof of the orbital bunker. Um, well, kind of. They're a little bit different, but there's three of them. Looks like they're meant to be possibly stacked on top of each other. And I was trying to figure out where they're going to go, but now can kind of see this pad down here. The other angle kind of shows the other pad. So initially, I thought maybe it might be going right here, but that's just a flat flat pad. So right in the back, you can actually see where they'll mount those. So right next to the vaporizer, so that you got to have somewhere to store what's coming out of this vaporizer. So I was thinking it was going to be nearby, and now we know. Uh, but
Can
yeah,
I ask a
sorry.
real silly question? Why do they have that one round tank? The spherical one.
I think it's a higher pressure like gaseous tank. So it's a thick walled tank, I believe. But I can't tell. You'd have to like go up to the thing and knock on it or read a label nearby to figure out exactly what its specifications are.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was helium, but they usually store those in the compressed gas tanks. So, um, I mean, it could theoretically store helium, right?
It could, but the question is like, why would you be still storing helium? Is it to keep everything chilled as far as your like your nitrogen or your oxygen? Because you can do that. You can use helium to bubble it, but it's expensive. It's
Yeah,
really
that
expensive.
would be a very expensive way to do it. I would use helium for like Raptor spin ups, but if there's no methane, there's nothing to spin up there. I have so many questions.
It looks like a couple of white. Are those power banks? What are those pieces on the back?
These,
Yeah. Can you zoom in
these
just a
are
little bit?
these are at the orbital tank farm as well too, and I've been trying to figure out what they are for a long time. But um, there's another one over here that's a little bit different. It may just be like a control panel. Like this could be a door that opens up. There's probably a digital meter on the front or something like that.
Yeah, I could see that. It's got like a handle on the right-hand side, which is
Yeah.
about right. But the one on the very far right, it's like the old school style, but the handle's in the middle. What?
I
They almost look like gas pumps. That's funny.
bet you we could see these better in the aerials. Let's see. I guess
We
we would
actually
need.
had like three flyovers of Massey's this week. So, Mauricio, you did the first run on Monday, and it was just cloudy. Is that right?
I did the first run on Monday at the beginning of the flyover, and then I went back because I saw the clouds had cleared up. So
Yeah,
yeah, the
And
flyover.
then you did it again on you did a flyover on Friday with the drone, and so we had basically 3.
All right. I feel like we've spent a lot of time at Massey's. Maybe we should move over to the Sanchez site unless we have more questions.
Yeah, we had quite a few more questions, but we can knock them out real quick. Well, first we got another donation from Joel Burnett, 1999. Great content, thanks, gang, and thank you so much for everybody that donated. We really appreciate it. Some questions here from Mauser. Are there any signs of an extended rocket garden at Massey's? How are they going to hold all the ships? I haven't seen anything at Massey's yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But I don't know about the room though. What do y'all think?
There's plenty of room. You could store ships off to the far right here, where the tent's at. You'd have to go through and redo some things, but it's like that would be perfect. You've got like an inventory of things that you want to go through and do cryo on, or you've done cryo on, and you just store them there until you're ready to do your other testing, let's say for engines or anything else.
Can you imagine seeing like 2 or 3 ships doing cryo at the same time?
Oh, that would be insane. Like you'd have to have a few more tanks, but yeah, you could do it.
So a while back, you mentioned a control room, um, and I disagreed at the time. But now, as far as a control room for this place, this could actually make sense. Not for the launch complex, but for this site. That would make a ton of sense. However, just the proximity to the I would hope they make an actual bunker or something, you know what I mean? Because if these tanks pop, um, you know, this is
Yeah,
an
that would
safe
be
place to go.
terrible for a control room. Yeah, it's just too close. You could
Yeah.
suffocate your employees, and that's not ever a good idea.
It's
So
essentially gotta just be the break-in meeting room at the like, for this place, but
yeah, but
I
I
imagine they
think
gotta
like
have
a
control.
control room for a launch site, that was the idea because there is paperwork for a double wide trailer, which that's basically the same thing, and it was going to be the control room for OTF1. At least that was the paperwork that they filed for the a building permit, and it was basically in the Ad Astra site, which is just just about 400 meters down the road here. Um, it's not that far, but they're in the same neighborhood, so it's like this could be it because I don't see it at the Ad Astra site. It looks like it's here instead, but maybe it's the actual Ad Astra site itself that they'll do the launch control center.
Alright, next question.
All right, the next question was actually, let me pull it up here, from Ian Miss McBoy. Will the access road to Massey's need a serious upgrade to get a booster through from the production? And yeah, they're already
Like they
fixing up the
already
roadways.
didn't they already start the upgrade to that bridge right there on the entrance?
Yeah, that bridge has been upgraded here, but the rest of the road, what do you think, Mauricio? How does the rest of the road feel and look?
It is
And
a
we actually have some
road,
ground shots too. You could probably pull up.
well, it's a dirt road, so they definitely need to pave it for sure, right? For a booster or for a ship.
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, beyond this right here, obviously, this is gonna have to change, like this road, um, but, as far as the Highway 4 in between here and the launch and the, build site, they are currently repaving that entire thing, right?
Well, we've got some pictures here. I think they're just to the just past these ones.
I'd
Do
like to
we?
mention that highway can barely hold cars and handle that, so it might be really tough to get a booster down. Oh, and I also wanted to point out at Cape Canaveral, the SLS and the Apollo crawler doesn't go on paved roads. It goes on a special kind of rock from Alabama that doesn't compress too much. They just roll on gravel.
Actually, it looks like we're missing a couple of photos here. I guess that Miss Mauricio has those, but yeah, there were some pictures um, of the road. They have the extension of all of the construction going up to like just past Sanchez, it seems.
Wait, was that in his video? In the video version?
Might be in the video, but I saw some ground pictures as well.
Oh, okay.
We're going through
Let
yesterday.
me grab the ground images, and we'll see if I missed one.
I'm looking through the ground images now, and I think we just don't have those right now.
Okay, that's fine. Well, how about I switch us over to the Sanchez site? I think we did have some more questions still, though, right?
We had a couple more questions, but they can get answered pretty fast. From Stan J, did all the grading cladding disappear off the launch site? You'd seen it at the early December. I think he's talking about the cladding at Massey's, maybe that was there and disappeared.
Yeah, it's gone. It's not here. It looks like it's over at Sanchez again at the inventory tent. And
And
here we go. It's in that pile down there below the inventory tent. To the right, I believe, if I remember right,
Isn't it on the front
or
side?
it's up there. They've got so much stuff. It's hard to keep track of everything. But we did spot some of it.
Uh,
So I think it's above in this image. If I remember right, it's it's all over the place. Yeah, it's up
while
there.
while we're here,
It's up at the top. I think
oh yeah,
to
so
the right.
there are short pieces of cladding too. I think that could be what those shorter ones are. Um, wait, I could have sworn there was more back here too. But
Yeah, did it move? What? Where did it go?
we'll search the site for it. But
It's probably in one of these shipping containers behind us.
while we're right here, most of this equipment is basically what we had seen at Massey's. So everything that was near um, the basically this tent section right here, and you could kind of see most of it actually. So a lot of this equipment got moved over to the Sanchez site, except for that suborbital test stand thing. I don't really know where that went. But basically, it seems like this building isn't large enough, in my opinion. Either that, or they're still trying to get everything organized on the inside. But it does appear to me that this building maybe should have been twice as large as it actually is, given that there you have all this racking outside on both the front, or sorry, I guess I don't know if you call it front and back, but left and right side. Um, Ton of racking, and they still can't fit all these booster. These are booster header tank sections, right?
They look like that. It's kind of interesting because you have to open it up to see what's inside, and we can't. And it could be like they're different pieces, but they could be Starship or booster related in this case. What's interesting is that like they are using a push and pull method at the same time. So they've got all this stuff just like pushing to get inside, and then they're using the pull method to say, well, okay, we've got actual room now. We've set up the shelves. Bring it in. We can store it here. So like they are still setting up shelves. They've got shelf pieces everywhere on the inside and the outside, ready to be set up. So
Do you think these are
it's
the
gonna be
cladding
interesting.
pieces right here?
They look to be the right length, but they're odd
Yeah,
because
they
they're
don't look right.
sideways.
But what else? I mean, that it doesn't look right.
Well, we could check the ground photos here in just a bit and compare what they look like there. But
Yeah, we might as well do that actually, because I have tons of good ground images.
yeah, it's
Sorry,
just
I'm
that change of perspective that's so useful and understanding what we're looking at sometimes. I can see that they're tall, thin pieces, but they don't look like they would be normally cladding. Oh, here's the ground photo that I was talking about. Nice.
yeah. So this shows the beginning of it, right? The
Yep.
beginning of the road work. So basically, from here back all the way to Massey's, they're doing it, and I don't think it goes all the way there. They're doing it in sections, so it's kind of similar to how they did all the rest of the from here to the launch site. Basically, they did like um, I want to say a quarter mile at a time, essentially.
Well, look at
And
the back of the truck where that white line starts. That is where the road was finished up till last. Just go down a little bit.
Hey,
So
Zach.
that white line where it starts, yeah, that is the start of
old.
the new road. So like the new road, it's just right there, continue with the truck, and everything closest to us is the old stuff.
Right.
Zach, we only live a quarter mile at a time.
I think we can see it as well from the air. If I show it right here, you can see where that start and ends at. And so yeah, they're basically it's not really widening it, but it kind of is because there's no I hate to even call this a shoulder because it's not, but it technically is because you can almost park on this without getting in the dirt on the side. Um, but you can't really do that going past this point. So in a way, it is slightly widening it. But overall, I mean, what they're doing is, I wish we had images showing going further away from there. Let's see if I have some from the long distance images. I don't think I do. Um, Maybe next week we will try and get some images that show the construction a little bit more, um, just in between these two locations, so you guys can see like what is and isn't being done. But overall, it's really exciting to see that. Sounds minor, but it's not. If you've ever driven out there, it's like something to celebrate for sure.
I mean, yeah, for real. That's the most exciting thing I've seen all week.
And and don't get me wrong, they still the rest of the highway needs it as well too, past Massey's, but I believe this was the worst of that highway was in between this location and Massey's was where it got the worst.
Have they reduced the speed limit out there? I remember they were talking about that.
Um, they have. Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't been out there,
They
but
put a speed trap up with basically like they have an actively monitoring station, so it will take your license plate to say you're going too fast, and they like will have a person either inside of it or not. You don't know.
I feel like they took that off. I didn't see it when I was out there. Maybe it was there. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't see it. It wasn't too noticeable as before. And I don't think it stops people from eating, to be honest. People just feels like it's the same. I'm out there.
oh, you know what?
Oh, when you get the ticket in the mail, you'll find out.
I think I may have.
No, no, you won't get one, but
I think I may have some video from Maria Pointer um, that shows the road work. So I'm going to see if I can bring some of that up here.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Road Talk, where we discuss concrete and our love of it.
No
Uh,
concrete involved, just asphalt and dirt.
We're slowly
see.
moving away from aerospace engineering to just becoming really good civil engineering buffs.
I didn't really think of showing this before, but here we go. Let's see. Let me just switch screens. Hmm, okay. So this is a little bit of a short video, but you can see, I believe this is, okay, this is the Ad Astra school right here. This was actually the day of the wet dress rehearsal. So um, all of the workers had parked down here at the school. And I don't know, I thought this video showed the,
well, I think we just confirmed something. It is at Ad Astra for the control center,
that
based
would
off
make
of how many
sense.
workers that are
Oh,
there.
hold on one second.
And I love how you can see the rear view mirror. That's the best part right there for me.
Sorry about that. This isn't the one I thought it was. I think it's this one. And sorry for the normally I have these prepared in the background, but I just thought of it. So yeah, you guys can see some of the road construction right here.
The way they're doing it reminds me of Wyoming, where if you ever traveled the I-80 in Wyoming, you'll always see they have these long stretches of road, kind of like this, that it's
Yep.
just constantly being repoured.
A lot of Texas is like that as well too, I would say. Um, this is interesting to me because initially I was kind of hoping that they were actually like tearing all of this up, adding new road base, and then refilling it. Um, but maybe that's not really necessary over here because the whole water issue that they were having near build site and launch site isn't really existent over here. So I guess completely ripping this up and repouring it is good enough, and that also was still much needed. I think on the side of the road right here, you can see that I think they've already done this side.
Yeah.
So it looks like a lot of it is nearing completion down there. Mauricio, how was it the last time you drove out there?
Um, well, I'm driving on the opposite side of the road. They have one of the lanes closed, so it's not bad. But there's still areas that need work on, especially
Right.
there's still potholes out there. So it's pretty bad still.
Well, hopefully it's getting better day by day. Um, but yeah, continuing on. Thank you, Maria Pointer, for sending that over to us. Um, and yeah, continuing on. What else do we have over here at Sanchez? We have actually. Did you want to expand more on the fab tent or not fab tent? The um, storage tent.
Well, actually, a little bit of what we have as far as we kind of talked about this Monday when we did our show and tell. If you zoom in on the just those parts down at the bottom below the tent, you could see a lot of valves. Like we're looking at everything from Massey's plus a whole lot more. So the number of valve bodies here, the large valves as well, they look to be long stem. So we're talking about cryogenics here. Um, we're either looking at suborbital pad C or even basically orbital launch mount 2, like the fuel farm stuff. Like we had similar setups like this
Look at this brain.
before it was done. What the heck?
That's a huge one. That's one of the main valves that go inside the bunker.
Yeah, that would be for the locks for the booster.
Dang.
Whoa. Are these valves too? This is a water valve, I
Yeah,
think.
these are the water valves, so these would go with the
those are the
pipes.
3 foot valves that we think were for the deluge.
Yeah,
Valve City.
and we
All
still
tiny
have
ones.
the question of where those 20-degree angled pipes went. They're like 20 or 22-degree angled pipes, and
Oh, those are actually
oh, you know
um
where they are?
yeah, they're right here. So that was one thing that we were gonna have to talk
Ah,
about today, is that the initial thought that these pieces were going to be for a deluge ring, not necessarily correct, but still part of deluge, so we're good there. But you can see that they're using it right here. There's one, two, and there's another. You know what? I'm gonna have to switch this to another view because we got some shade. Uh,
Not you throwing shade.
no, not me. Booster transport stand.
oh, we can see it really well in the shade there.
Yeah, so you got two of these. Um, Very interesting. I'm not 100% sure what to make of them yet, but I mean,
Well,
it
these ones
almost
look
seems
green on the right, and then these ones I can't tell if that was green or black to begin with.
this one or this one.
The black looking ones, the larger elbows.
Yeah, right. Yeah, these are weird. I mean, this one right here almost look you see this cap on the ground, it almost looks like they're gonna cap this one, but you
Like a
see how this one
manhole.
yeah, but this one has the extension off of it, so I don't know. I mean, obviously they're still working on these and a lot could have changed in between this flyover and now, so next time we get out there, we'll have to see what that looks like. But it's still really interesting to see how quickly they're working getting all of this stuff set up. And now we have the ones that we know that just arrived from um, KSC. So let's just check those out again while we're at it. Um,
Based off the measurements I've done of these, using Google Earth and other ones, they're around the same sizes. These ones are a little bit bigger on the left. They're uh, oh, what was the size I was looking at again? It was like closer to 58 inches on these ones.
Mhm.
And then it kind of goes smaller. It seems as it progresses.
yeah, it's really um, now that I think about it. So when with how these the system works, um, where's the other one? So the main supply would be like coming in through this and then branching over to this side. And then this is where it would branch off and go to the buffer tanks. So these those little Y sections that we were seeing could be for that branch to go back to the buffer tanks, I think, which are these basically.
Yeah. So the ones on the right are the ones we're going to be using. The ones
Matter
on
of fact,
the left, these ones, the big ones, those are the kind of the mystery ones right now. It's like
Yeah.
they're important, but where do they go? We'll have to wait and see.
It's almost looking like it's in the position where they would. So this needs to be shifted forward a little bit more so that the tanks can sit over it. And then you have one of these long pipes that go to this point, and then there's that little Y fitting. Um, I don't know, just guessing here, but uh, we're gonna have to yet again come back to this image because we are gonna talk about this more when we get to the launch site. But while we're here, there was some more things that Thomas wanted to talk about, and so we're gonna briefly deviate away from Sanchez because um, I thought this was pretty exciting to talk about. So let's go ahead and Thomas, what did you want to tell us about this?
So it's either this image or another one similar to it. Basically, you're looking at the red crane off in the distance here. So in that direction, if that's the right red crane, I think it was a different one. But anyways, there is a new LNG facility being put up. Actually, it could be two different ones. There's Rio Grande Valley LNG, and then and that's just our RGV LNG, which is kind of funny. It's like us. Um, but then there's also Texas LNG. So they've got two different sites that were being built right now. So that's a pretty big deal because liquid natural gas is extremely useful for Starship, especially the booster and everything else. Like you need that fuel. You could either truck it or you can pipe it. And what we're talking about here, as far as distances, is about 7 miles approximately. That we could basically do a double insulated vacuum, uh, basically LNG pipe to Starbase so that they can have a continuous flow of LNG when they need it. They can get access to it, and they would be a very regular customer of this facility. So either they're going to truck it through, or they're going to uh, maybe do a pipeline, and they would have to go through underneath the canal. And I have a couple of quick
Have
Snapchat
the
videos.
I have the videos right here.
Okay.
What I was going to do really quickly was pull up some Google Earthage,
Yep.
but just so we can look at what that looks like, and then I will. Where am I? Oh, I'm looking at KSC right now.
Yeah, I always have that same issue.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at Mexico.
Oh, what are you doing down in Mexico?
You don't want to know.
So we have our
Go look
launch
at
site.
the Starbase real quick.
Launch site is down here, right?
Yep.
So then we travel up.
No, yeah, don't want to go up that way.
What?
Yeah, you don't go up that way for this one.
But you got to
Uh,
get to the straight, right?
no. So let's start off of where the launch site is and go backwards real quick.
Okay.
So go to the launch site and then you can kind of go down Highway 4. What I'm thinking would be the best proposed route would be you have a pipeline on this side, the southern side of Highway 4 here, and it would travel all the way down to, let's say, Sanchez. So Sanchez would go through, recondition any LNG. It basically liquefies any little bits of gas, and they would basically add nitrogen, oxygen, cryo as well from this facility. So it looks like they have things set up to do basically just that. As far as an LNG plant, that's something that, or not an LNG, a gas liquefaction plant. But where you would take the LNG plant is probably just go straight through over the top of the mudflats, and just go straight up kitty corner from this, and then head towards Highway 48. So yeah, keep going, and then go up a bit more
Showing
past
you now.
the channel. So just straight up now, and that's it right there. That is the new site that they are currently setting up. This is an older area, of course, of Google Earth. But then I've got the snap
Yeah.
map pictures and videos.
And really quickly, so where Mauricio was doing his flyover is where is that port? That's over here?
all the way at the end, left hand end.
Left-handed?
Left hand end.
Oh.
Yeah, so if
very end of the canal.
yeah, the very end
The
of the
last
canal, you
dead
can
end right there.
see where it angles down, a straight angle down on the port to the
The
left,
45 degree at the very turning basin at the very end of the canal, the last 100 yards.
left.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There we go. Yeah, so straight down. That is the area that on the
Where you
left
see
hand
that
side,
barge docked on the bottom side.
left,
Bottom side.
right there.
Right there, that's where our barge is docked. Is on that diagonal dock.
And that's number 10. And by the way, the things you see at the bottom of the screen, those are all windmill blades. It's they've got a lot of them that are being shipped out from here. But yeah, so anyways, that's the location
Well, let's switch
where
over
we're looking at.
to the video. My computer is not liking Google Earth right now for some reason. I guess it's a lot of processing power. So let's switch over to the video.
Yeah, so this is from Snap Maps, and this is showing the site. So they're drilling already, and then they've got a batch concrete factory just being set up right there. I think at one of the videos here, it's going to scroll through, yeah, I've got plenty of dirt just coming in, so they're doing a lot of backfill and getting the site ready. And I just love how it says just playing here in the backyard of SpaceX. And I think one of these videos it shows directly SpaceX off in the distance, visible from here. Not sure which one it is.
It's probably the fourth one right here.
But yeah, this is pretty exciting because the amount of volume that you could basically produce for LNG, if you let's say set it all towards Starship, you would do over 3,000 flights, which is way more than, of course, Starship needs here. We're only talking about 5 flights, maybe a dozen flights off of this particular part of the launch site. They might go up to like 24 if they expand further, and that's like the final version you'd expect. But this is pretty big to see the LNG facility going in here. It's going to take several years to fully develop, but that's pretty exciting.
Well, we're going to have to check in on its progress. I guess we have another target for Mauricio to snap photos of. When he does his flyovers, although he doesn't really go down there. So maybe we'll see. It's been a while because you used to go down there when was it Deimos or Phobos? Which one?
Deimos, yeah.
Yeah, when Deimos was there. Good times. So continuing on, this is actually really cool. Did we talk about this last week? I don't think we did.
Nope. I think
Oh,
this
wait,
is
we
our
didn't have a
first.
flyover last week. What am I talking
This
about?
is our first view of it.
I want to get a shot like directly over it.
Yeah. And now here's the coolest part: the direction of the pipes. So the ring watchers saw this and it's like, oh, that's how they do it. Because like in their models, so Nick, he's been on here before. He has some amazing 3D models. There were some bent pipes. This is so much better. You just angle the pipe over and it avoids any collisions with the other pipes. And it solves the weight problem. It solves the complexity of the problem. You just angle it.
Yeah.
So yeah, each one of those, it's like a spoke on a bicycle.
I think I have a picture of it. So let me see if I can show that really quick.
Yep. And so those bent pipes is not what they needed to do. They changed it from what this was.
So now they're straight instead of being, so they don't have to bend over.
Exactly, because they were going to collide into each other.
That makes sense.
You can almost see that that's what Nick was going for in the model, and then like yeah, there's just this weird problem that he solved one way in SpaceX. It's like we've got 2,000 people working on this or 3,000 people working on it. They have a lot more time to understand the problem and find the most optimal solution to it. And so we're always trying to like reverse engineer what they're doing, understand how they do it, and it's like, oh, this is so much simpler and so much better. And Nick has amazing models and puts so much time into it, so I appreciate it. It's very difficult to keep up with understanding how they build these, and each booster is different. They are unique.
Right.
They get better and better, but they
So-
have similarities. Oh, there's
Sometimes
another one
when
from
you're
Jack, if you want to bring it up.
sometimes when you're too close to a problem and you know all the intricacies of it, you miss the simple solution because you think, oh, there are too many things to go wrong with changing anything here. Whereas some guy coming from the outside could just go, oh, just angle it a little bit.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. I listened to the whole Lex Friedman interview with Tim Dodd, and yeah, there you go. That's the best representation of it. It's so
Ooh,
simple.
pretty.
Yeah. So the Lex Friedman interview with Tim Dodd was amazing. I had to listen to it at 1.25 speed, so it was only taking 4 hours instead of five. But they do talk about a bit about how, as outsiders, we're looking at SpaceX and understanding how they do things, and we don't know better than they do, and we understand like some of these parts, and so we will have simple solutions that, like Tim Dodd had that solution for basically using the Ullage gas on Starship, as well as because they were already doing that for the booster. It was like, that's a great idea, let's do it for the booster. But he's like, well, what about Starship? And Elon's like, yeah, we should do that. And like they were kind of already considering something, but it was like really clicked that yes, absolutely, we should do this. It saves weight. And so that outside opinion is still very useful for them.
One thing I just realized, and I don't know if we already figured this out already, but so obviously, let me go back to the Sanchez thing or Sanchez view. Oh no, actually, it's at. Oh yeah, it is at Sanchez. So we were talking about uh these triangle pieces right here. So
Yeah.
these look like the same thing as what's at the bottom of the booster. And sorry if we've already pointed this out before, but it looks like this what do you call this?
Underlayment, I don't know, just the structure. Like there's
Yeah,
the thrust puck
whatever it
itself,
is.
but
It's
it's just
above the
above
thrust
it.
puck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a sump, right?
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. But I'm pretty sure that because you can just see the way it straddles uh, the actual header tank. I'm pretty sure that's what's wrapped up in white, which makes sense because the other things wrapped up in white over here are those header tanks. So this is more than likely what goes around the header tank.
And those could be like just 2x4s going across the header tanks because they're at weird intervals too. At first, I thought, are those like some sort of test stand structure for, not test stand, but a construction structure for the tanks? 'Cause they're about the same size, but no, those are probably just to protect it. Like they're just a couple of 2x4s on top.
Yeah. This is interesting to me. One of the things I've been wondering actually, and I kind of want to just go back to that model that we were looking at. So why do they have to bend when they could just go straight?
So the pipes that come out and angle downward would be in the way.
I
Look at
guess
the pipe left of center at the bottom. Imagine if the pipe that comes out in angles went straight, it would hit it.
oh, just in this location.
Right.
Because right here, this one would be fine.
Yeah. It's every other one that has a problem.
Well, that's annoying.
Yeah. A little swirl and it
I'm
all
sure,
fits.
I'm sure that was pretty annoying to them as well too when they realized that.
I mean, if
That's
you look
funny.
at the previous the picture from Nick and compare it to this one, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, that is the better solution because you like have so many elbows in this one for those ones going down.
Yeah.
It like these nice straight pieces look great, but then you switch over to the newer image and it's like, oh, this is perfect. You just do a little bit of an elbow, and then you've got a straight piece. You're not dealing with a whole complex set of issues um, just to do some pipe work.
You know, we can't say that we've seen the inside of any other vehicle like this, but even with that being said, I'm pretty sure none of them look as cool as this does on the bottom.
I just want to know what it will
Well,
look like in the future for
none of the
like.
rest of them have 33 engines.
Exactly. So there's probably no way that anything looks this cool on the inside. I would love for Tori to show us what the Vulcan looks like on the inside, but uh, we haven't
Oh, I
gotten
would
that
love a
yet.
photo like that. It's
Yeah.
like it's amazing to see all the technology that and engineering and just how the concepts come about for any rocket. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. Um, one last thing to point out here before we kind of move on a little bit because we're approaching the halfway mark of the show and we're not even through Sanchez. Um, we I think we talked about this last week, but they have tons of um, the frames for the what do you call them? The pins, the stabilizer pins on the booster transport stands. So there's like four of them sitting down here, um, which is very interesting.
Well, we have a transport stand that just arrived from Florida. So we have the pins and the hold down clamps as well down here, and they were for the transport stand that was from Florida. Like they didn't get sent to Florida; they got sent here, and they got built here. And it's like that's oh, and there's actually another
Oh wow,
one right there. Surprise!
you get a stabilizer pin.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's good though because they only had one initially, and I still don't know if they have more than one mounted. I don't think they. What?
I know the flex pipes. They're just everywhere, and this is at the this particular location is United Rentals. It's like they ran out of space, and they're like, "Can we rent some space back from you? We've got some flex lines."
Hey,
We need to
Thomas, were you there with us whenever we found a 3 or 4 foot section of flex pipe just laying in the grass?
No, but
Uh,
I've seen plenty of them from other people as well doing that.
we turned it back into SpaceX. We're like, hey, we found your stuff. It was pretty heavy though.
Yeah, I've been told that like whatever you find in the mud flats, you're actually supposed to leave it alone, even though it's like, oh, this is garbage. Well, actual animals will use some of your garbage for,
They
like,
need to send out an official communication on that
yeah.
because
Well, this is actually the Parks Department is actually talked about this. So I've talked to Lab, and he's talked directly to the manager of the Texas Parks Department. They basically were like, yeah, you just if you find stuff, you just leave it because the animals will actually use it for their habitat. It's like, really? Yeah. So SpaceX will clean up their own stuff right after a rut or something like that, so the animals won't use it. Um, but at the same time, it's like there is bits of food or trash that will accumulate in that area that they will use. You don't see too many open trash cans as well, but when you do, you'll see quite a few seagulls. All
well,
right, let's keep moving. I
yeah, I have some good ground images of this too. Ah, man, I'm still just looking for places where those tanks can go, and this is my only spot that I can see them at so far. Um, it's a really weird location to put them, but
we just haven't seen the pads.
no,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, it's
So they've got
weird.
this whole other part of the facility that they're setting up. So they've got all of these what are those called? Cooling towers just to the left. They're not towers, but they're cooling towers. And they have the whole setup for doing separate process feeds for their liquefaction process for basically doing oxygen or argon and continuously doing nitrogen, oxygen, argon all at the same time.
Should I look at these from the ground?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go up to the ground images. The aerial images are amazing. If you haven't, jump on Patreon in order to get access to these because there's so much more detail than even what we can go into.
So yeah, this was not cladding.
They look like stringers.
Yeah,
Zoom in again. Maybe they moved
I
them around on us. Like what was in there is moved in the inside.
I think these stringers are for the Starship aft section, but I could be wrong.
They look like the
Maybe
could be booster too, but yeah, the lightning holes are different. That's cool.
I can just
So
make these things up because Jax isn't here to correct me. So yeah, these are for the ship aft section. Thomas is
this
guessing.
kind of reminds me of the Apollo era. It's almost like they use corrugated metal as their stringers. You know, just a constant piece of metal that they would just tack weld it to it. And offered all the structure they needed.
It is kind of like corrugated, but yeah, they're taking the structure itself. It's a cylinder. It's really strong, and then they're adding the corrugation on after. That's what the stringers basically are. That's such a cool thought. I never really put it that way. Thank you, Grandpa Joe.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I'm also I really liked Tim's preview video where he mentioned the cooling using the fuel, and Elon had talked about that at one point. Rather than using the heat shield tiles, just have a thin layer and eject fuel and to cool the ship. That would have been super fun. I don't know. Maybe they'll try that again one day.
What?
Yeah, it's to keep it circular.
What? Does it do
It's
that
just a
all the way
shipping
through?
post. Each end.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Sorry, I was trying to move us a little bit forward. Let's peek inside the. Okay, we can't really see much in
Yeah,
here.
they got some welding going on right there. You can see the structure they're welding. It's just what is it? I have no clue, but I assume it's some sort of shelving system.
I mean, it's pretty heavy duty for a shelf. It's oof.
It's a used duct tape holder.
Could be some sort of ladder. I have no clue what it is, but it's
Framework.
really
Remember,
it's
I thought
really
there was gonna
thick.
be a Raptor test stand in here. Obviously, I don't think that anymore. But what if it's the framework for something like that?
Oh yeah, you because yeah, you were thinking they were gonna store raptors in here, and they could. It's an inventory tent. Raptors are inventory.
It could be a new piece of internal structure to stiffen the frame up a bit. This thing's a little flexy right now. What sucks is every piece of structure they add on to it just means that's less they can carry into space.
I completely forgot what I was looking for, guys. Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, they've got pallets on top of pallets. It's
This.
amazing.
So this is the
So
ground view of what we were looking at from the air. That little area where I think they may be able to put some tanks at. But this is interesting the way they've dug this down. So this is for conduit, right?
yeah, and you can see the conduit in the back there, and then these are little standoffs. You can see that they've got little U shapes that will fit the conduit, and then they will probably be high voltage conduit. You'll then pour like concrete over it, and then throw some red dye over that.
Interesting. Yeah, and we have that was about all we can really see from the ground view.
Yeah, go over 2 images to the left. There's another thing that's really cool. We've got the nose cone jails. It's been has pieces added on like crazy. It's nice. Like to the right, you can see they've got a little bar now, right there. Just it's welded right in the middle of it's like weird spot. I wonder if it's just to be a backstop for whatever's going to be on top, or something else. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah,
And
I
then you've
noticed
got the entire plate at the top, right there.
this what that they're welding around the edge.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna take a ring, and they're gonna have a plate on the bottom of the ring that this will mate to directly. So that way you do not have the issue of trying to like weld it down. You just basically bolt it down, and then you can unbolt it and then throw on a new one if you would like.
Well, that's nice because yeah, having to weld it down was probably a pain for them. Um, wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Especially if you're gonna use this multiple times, and I think they will. They're gonna be continuously changing the fairing style because we're gonna have fairings for like a clamshell, for instance. That's like one idea that has been popular forever, and then it's like they'll come back to it eventually. Um, there is the HLS, there is everything with Starlink, and then also their customers how they deploy their satellites. We haven't seen that yet. So there, every time you create one of these systems, you want to test it before you throw it into space, especially with a customer's payload.
yeah,
And
you
this
don't
will
want
be
collapse of the payload section on the pad.
exactly. Or just max Q and it just goes
Right.
flat and it's like, "Oh, no, not another CRS-6."
That's what I was thinking of. um, so I guess I don't know if there's anything else really happening at the Sanchez site. I That's pretty much all I had, and I think maybe we can move on from here. Unless actually, let's address some questions really quick, Mauricio. I'm sure we've uh, accumulated quite a few.
And while you're doing that, just zoom around Sanchez and we'll have you answer questions.
Well, we had a first. I'll address the donations here. First one's from Jim Cabot, $5. Someone did say party, and then thank you for that, Jim. Rocket donated $9.99. Thank you, and that's all the donations we have. Let's see here. I'm looking at questions related to this. There's not really any questions related to Sanchez, but there's a couple more that I'll probably bring up once we get to the launch site.
Okay.
So we can keep going.
I
Cool.
did see one piece I'll point out at the end of the inventory tent. There's a little U shape. So it's just a little bit to the right here. And zoom in. And then just to the right, that black piece. I'm pretty sure that's our piece that will go to our favorite Pez loader. Or it's the Pez dispenser. It's that white box that's at the inventory tent.
Yeah, I'm still weird that this isn't mounted on there yet, but I guess I don't have a need since they're not actually launching payloads yet. So, well, they're not even launching, but yeah, at some point.
Ship 27 is my favorite, and we'll get to that here in just a bit.
Cool. Well, let's hop over to the build site then. All right. Well, to start off,
You can see Ship 27 actually in the mid bay there.
yeah, sorry. Let me go back to that image.
So that's just the aft section. We're still missing the forward section for the methane and the nose cone and all of that, but that's not there. It's in high bay.
Right. And then we have booster 10 forward tank, right?
Yeah, that should be booster 10.
And I think this is ship 28.
Yeah,
No idea.
that's what I've got. So I've got the little bits of knowledge from Jackson, the ring watchers.
How many of these I can guess then?
Okay.
I don't know. This is probably like ship 30 something's common dome. Oh wait, yeah, 31.
It should be about like 30, but
And
it's
then
yeah, it's just common dome.
30's front or forward dome.
It's a forward dome. I don't know if they know which ship it is.
Booster 11's aft dome.
That'd be 13s.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense, I guess, because booster 11 should already be. It should already be inside of its. It should already be sleeved, right?
I thought it was 11 as well yesterday. I was like, that's 11? Nope, it's 13.
Wow.
Jax corrected me directly on that one.
I'm not sure about all these, but those are booster sections.
11s.
11s. Okay, cool. And then this would be 22.
Nose cone 28.
Oh, okay, that's not the dead one.
Oh, nose cone 30, sorry. Nose cone 30, and it is 28. What the? That should be the dead one, though.
Where is the dead one?
That should be it. I guess it got mislabeled because that should be the bad one.
Here?
Yeah. But it says 28, so I'm kind of perplexed there.
Then we have the graveyard down here. Do I have a
Maybe
better-
there's a nose code 22 over there. They've been knocking off heat shield tiles off of sections all night. It's like they could just make those and sell those as plates. Apparently that's what they use at the Prancing Pony is heat shield tiles for plates.
They do that for the hot wings.
That reminds me, I posted this on Twitter last night, but I'll show it here. Last night they were working on removing the TPS tiles. So we got a little time lapse of that, which is pretty cool, courtesy Lab Padre.
Best live stream in basically Starbase, Texas. This is amazing. Like,
Wow.
who was it who came in and said that there was a bit of a murder going on? It's like, yeah, that is terrible. And later on, what you'll see is that they'll just stab the thing with the forks to pick it up and move it around, and then they'll do all sorts of crazy stuff.
It seems like it was this guy's first time because, like, at the beginning, he was not doing that good. Like, it seemed like he was like kind of struggling a little bit.
And he's like, "Oh, I got it now."
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you could see right when he like figures it out. He's like, right now he's trying to go forward on. He was trying to go forward right there, like from the front with the forks. Nah.
Let's do the side, yeah.
So guys, Austin Bernard, well, a few years ago, he got hired by SpaceX to put these heat shield tiles on. I'm not sure if he's still doing that, But I like to imagine him watching this video going, I put all those tiles on. Do you have any idea of how much effort it took to just lay all those on? And you're just taking them all off.
Man, look at those strokes. That is just perfect right there.
Well, if he's lucky, he's the one driving the teleloader.
Yeah.
I hear he's working on engines now. So
Yeah.
that's a huge,
Really?
huge leap. Yeah.
Go Austin, man. What a great guy.
But yeah, you guys can see all of the scrap sections of booster 8 and ship 22 just laying out here. So you got booster, ship, ship, ship. I think booster, ship. No, that's a
Yeah,
booster.
they're boosters and ships. Anything without tiles, boosters.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what has tiles and what doesn't. I can tell these ones do and that one, but I can't tell with this one right here. So
That's a ship. It's gray. It's black. So anything with tiles, that one's black. So it's the one they were probably disassembling last night, or this
right,
one on the right.
common dome, half dome. Yes,
Yeah.
cool. Well, yeah, outside the tent, still got a little bit of stuff being stored out there, so not everything's been moved over to the what do we call the other building?
Inventory tent.
Say that again.
Sanchez inventory tent.
Okay, inventory tent. Yeah, so these haven't been moved over there yet. Down here, we really haven't seen much change to this building other than
Oh, it's not
they
change. A good
well,
one.
I was gonna say the crane, right?
Yeah. So if we got the ground shots of that, the cool part about it is they have two now, because this is a new one and it's yellow, and the last one was painted white. They're painting this one white.
So we're sure. So the other one's on the left side of the building.
It's either on the far left or far right. You can't see it in this image, but there's two of them now.
I mean, it's a long building, so it they fit two bridge cranes side by side in the main part of the building. So
Yeah,
it
so
makes
it's
sense that,
3.5 tons each. So
yeah.
technically, you can do 7 tons if you use them in tandem. But the best part was somebody was looking at it. I think it was Jackson. It was like they were looking at it. It's like, how many tons is that? 312.
There's another ground photo that actually shows without the crew there. You can actually read the label.
But yeah, it's just 3.5 tons, and that's probably U.S. tons, but it's pretty close to metric, which is neat.
Yeah. I was looking to see if there was one on the other side of it, but I don't think there is. So, but yeah, I mean, that's cool having one on each side. Nice for shuffling Raptors around, most likely. Um, I wonder if the trucks can like back in here and then just have the cranes offload them.
Well, the way that they've got that parking lot set up, absolutely, you could just move the strips around, and you now have the ability to move the like large just trucks that you have either flatbeds or covered trucks, and you bring them in, and you can grab all of the Raptors or anything else you want from there.
They're gonna have to have a nice driveway for it, which they don't yet. Like for that Raptor van or Raptor truck to get in and out.
Well, if they put any concrete there, you know that they will have to remove it again very quickly, because it's like you have to replace concrete at least twice around Starbase.
Pretty true. Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have concrete back here yet, but I have a feeling something else is going to happen back here soon.
Well, so part of that is the reason is that it was the county road, and that got basically absorbed by SpaceX during the abandonment process by the county. So all the way up to those cars where you see the end, like you basically have that as county road right here. So you see have a road, yeah, the sign right there. Those two signs, those are the end of the county road. So yeah, don't go anywhere past that first sign. You might not be able to see it, but it's there.
I feel like I'm
It's
doing something wrong even
property
looking
owner's
at
side,
it. So what else do we got out here? I'm not sure.
Well, if you go to the ground photos, we have a good ground photo of the wrecking yard with a very thin ring. It's been squished to about 2 foot wide.
Where? Let's see. I think that's back here.
I think you just passed it. Yeah, just keep going to the right a little bit. Should be right there. No, it's similar area though. So just keep going to the right as
Oh,
we'll
this is kind of cool though.
see them.
Just to check these out
I
really
think it
quick.
might be the 1, 2, 3 to the right of that.
Well, there's less of a like this is the top of the methane tank right there, that section, and then you're
It is
going into
crazy
the
how thin these
cargo
are.
area. Yeah,
Look at the one before that also maybe.
there you go.
All that work into a dumpster.
It's fun.
Your brand new appliance, stainless steel appliance, will be probably made from this.
Nah, I think they come back and I bet you anything this was on SN8, you know.
So a lot of the stainless steel, we wish they would collect it and save it and recycle it for Cybertrucks. Because I wish to buy a Cybertruck that is
Made
made
from
of stainless
Starship.
steel from Starship. It would just be like that's like $100,000 idea right there. But you'd
Except
have to store it and save it.
I think Cybertruck does not use anywhere near 4 millimeter thick stainless steel.
No, you just recycle it. So you melt it down, everything else like you normally do for recycling, and you buy the recycled material.
How much would you pay for a guaranteed part Starship Cybertruck where they made the body from old starships?
Oh, that would be thick stuff. I don't know if I could afford that one. Look at this.
I know Mouser would buy it for sure.
Oh yeah. So here's the cool part is we've got all of the different valve bodies and systems. So we've got like the one on the right, it's like the burp valve or something like that. They
This one right
collect the
here,
gases, yeah, or the
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 autogenous.
autogenous pressurization.
Yeah.
Which one's R2?
Or two?
R2D2.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So I think this one we figured out was most likely a camera going into the top of the tank.
No, it's the ones on the left, and you have to look at them from the other side. So like that one is. There's
How
two
do
of
I
them.
get to the other side?
You have to go to the mud flats. So it'll be towards the end of the build site.
Man. Let's see, where are we?
Yeah, we're still getting closer towards the. Yeah, there we go. Those are the mud flats. That's the one right there. So you can see the cameras to the left.
So these cameras go in at the top of the the top of the tank so that they
Yeah.
can basically see down towards the bottom, which is really cool.
Well, the one on the left might not be a camera. It could just be a pressure sensor. But the one on the right
Or it
is
could be a
definitely the
light.
camera.
Because
Yeah.
we love our look down the tank at the liquid oxygen, liquid methane shot, even from Falcon, that they occasionally forget to delete from their stream.
Yeah, this would be the methane one. But I love the LOX tank because it's got that light blue color.
Wait,
So cool.
so if this one's autogenous, what is this?
Let's see. Where does that one go? Can you scroll down a bit? Ah, it just ends.
That's where it goes. I don't know. Maybe Jax would know. It seems like several other pipes have been removed. Like, was there one attached to this too?
No, that's just the valve body. So you should see this attached to something else, which would then collect. And I think this would be the burp valve. So the burp valve is meaning that you're getting the gases out of the system because you want to fill it up almost to complete capacity. But at some point, it's like you're covering your cameras. I don't know if you full enough yet.
Yeah, I'm noticing this little pipe that comes off the side of it.
Yeah, that one's the what is it called, Dave, for controlling
Pneumatic
pneumatics?
control valve, pneumatic control line. That's what
Okay,
actually actuates the valves.
yeah, and that's the valve controller right there.
Gotcha.
And then the rest of the body is the valve. It's a huge valve for just a small
Shoot.
bit that you can pull off of it.
Yeah, it's weird. Do you think that an actual pipe was normally connected into this? Like,
They changed things over, I think, is what happened. They may
just
have changed designs.
Because
I
it would
mean,
make
originally, I think that dome on top of it would have been replaced by a pipe, but they didn't do that.
They keep changing things on Starship all the time. So Ship 22 is very different from Ship 24, and you just see constant improvements and iterations of their design and their process. And it's interesting. It's like eventually they're going to have to lock it down to a point. So things that are locked down, 9 millimeter, or I'm sorry, 4 millimeter, 9 meter stainless steel. The forward dome is probably going to get changed out to the flatter version, but like some of the basic concepts are always the same. And oh, this one really threw my mind. If you scroll down
why
just
did
a little
they
bit,
why did they remove this from the sleeve? That's interesting.
no, no, it's still there. The sleeve is still there. It's just
Was it
most of
cut
it's
down here?
missing. Yeah, they cut it down there. And it
Wow.
just throws my mind. Like when I saw that, I was like, "Am I seeing a ring on the other side?" And this is just the dome floating, and somebody's lifting it up. There's no lift lines.
But what
And
you are seeing there on the right-hand side is the ground wire for the welding system.
yeah. Oh, and there's actually a bunch of writing I've never seen. So what does that writing say up at the top? There's all these little pieces, and yeah.
No, I can't read any of those.
Oh, they're basically for
VT, QPC,
yeah, they're just
IWC,
welding. They're just checks. So it's nothing.
station numbers.
It's
Well,
verification and quality testing and all that. So keep going.
yeah, I'll move on. Let's shall we get back in the air really quick? Oh, whoops. Wrong
Back at
place.
Sanchez.
My bad. Um, I don't know if there's anything else really happening in the ring yard right now. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is. We do have this interesting frame that's sitting outside right now, which I initially was thinking this is what they would use to install the PEZ loaders. Like you lift it on top of this frame, it's kind of like a jig just to install it easily. But it's weird that it's at the Mega Bay if that's the case. So
Wait, what's that to the just right to your mouse? It looks like some I beams or
this
even a yeah, it's like part of a crane system or something, or maybe some scaffolding. What is
it
that?
does almost look like a bridge crane.
It looks a lot like a bridge crane.
Well, that's new.
Doing out here, that's a big one. That's like
Yeah.
that's almost like something for the Mega Bay. Like
Whoa.
there's no way they're not going to put another one in between the other two, right? That wouldn't make sense.
Mega Bay
It's for the
2?
new Mega Bay, yeah.
Oh, it
Star
could actually
Fact.
be for the Star Factory. Now that I think about it, it's just right next door.
Like the next part of the Star Factory that it's just early.
Yes. Yeah. Like they're getting all the parts for it, and that could be for
Ooh.
the Star Factory.
That would be interesting if that was our very first sign of the Star Factory.
No, the first sign is actually just at the bottom left corner. If you can scroll all the way over there, there's a lot of pieces for Star Factory, but
Sure.
they need a lot more, and they need yeah. So if it's to the right now beyond the right side. So I don't think you have quite the right image to get
Okay.
it.
Um,
And it's been sitting there since like before December. So
go- maybe I can see it in the Star Factory images better.
yep, almost. Wait, where did it go? Should be a pile of stuff, and it's disappeared. There was a pile right here where that dirt's at,
Swear
and
I
it's all
left it
disappeared.
there. Well, it
Well,
looks like they may be about to make a little driveway up to this soon. Like actually complete this. Kind of looks like they're grading it a little bit, right? Maybe that's why they got rid of it.
yeah, it could be that they are trying to get all of the. Well, let's say they've got drainage to the right that they're working on as well. So maybe they're just trying to get everything to drain properly around here.
Oh, man, that'd
Impossible.
be nice.
True.
um, what else we got down here? Flap City.
Yep, these are 22's flaps.
We got Valve City, Flap City, Spatula
Ooh.
City.
22s. So do you think maybe they'll reuse 22s?
No, but they like to keep them around for trophies. So
Why
What
not reuse them?
changed? Yeah, what changed with the flaps that they're not usable anymore?
They keep making improvements on the flap, so it's less material and better construction that's simpler. So you don't want to keep using the old flaps for that kind of stuff. And then the tiles themselves are going to be different. They're making improvements and iteration changes on the tiles, so you can actually see just the consistency and how good they look.
They
You
should start
see changes.
making signs out of these, like label, you know, like every intersection should have one of these, you know?
Yeah, like let's say at the beginning of Starbase or Sanchez, like along the wall, you put up a
Yeah.
flap, and then
Yeah.
on the other side of the end of the wall, another flap.
Yep.
That would be so cool.
Nose.
Yep, that would be nose cone 31's nose, and that's the nose that they're going to test on the structural test stand, which is the nose cone jail.
Bunch of tiles and boxes.
Yeah, lots of tiles, and they've had the ground shots to say that it says basically thermal tiles or something like that.
Don't they make those in an old Ron John surf shop?
Nearby.
It's like 3 doors down.
Wait,
And
what?
it's at Florida. They make those.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
like a Long John's surf shop, and then like 3 doors down, it's an old Lockheed Aerospace facility that made heat shield tiles, and they make them there.
I did
Um,
a I did a fun deep dive on how to make a heat shield tile, and it's relatively simple, but a couple of expensive components. So I was kind of thinking about doing it myself for funsies, but I'm not going to spend $400 on it.
There's a bunch of pieces have been moving around on here, so they are using this stuff and bringing in new pieces. And then the craziest part is all of the stainless steel rolls in here, just roll after roll. These are all new rolls, pretty much, and some of them are small, short ones, like the ones to the right. You are looking at right and above those really small, short ones that are vertical instead of horizontal. Yeah, so you have those ones that you're going to be stamping out parts. You could basically be making your own stringers eventually. However, I talked about this last week, and I'll reiterate this week. They are going around talking to the aerospace industry to have them make, like, let's say, stretch form parts, because that's a very expensive process, and aerospace industry is already making those. So SpaceX doesn't need to have a ton of those. Well, like literally, they do need a ton, but um, they will be making them from aerospace industry and just having them shipped directly to Starbase, where they'll build them, and then to Florida, where they'll build them.
I have a
Uh,
feeling these are for weld doublers or stamping out weld doublers, you know,
all
little
sorts of pieces, yeah.
yeah. Well, let me move us on because we're approaching that 2 hour mark. Um, there is literally no signs that they're other than that bridge crane, possible bridge crane. We haven't really seen much work in preparing for the next phase, but
By the way, the whole is just they're reinsulating and repaneling.
yeah, which is interesting. So initially, I'm guessing they just threw up the panels quickly, and then now they're going back adding insulation.
Yeah, so it's a different type of panel, but the insulation is a very important part of the process, and they're repaneling it all up, so it looks about the same.
Bet it's a lot cooler in there now.
And
uh,
there in the winter, it's a little bit warmer.
they do they actually have real winters down there though?
It does cool down. It gets around it was like 50 or 60 degrees not too long ago.
Oh, it's gotten down into the 30s in the last 2 weeks.
That's
Yeah, they
great.
did have kind of another ice storm about what was it 3 days ago across Texas, and power has been out, and that's horrible.
Um, hey, look, more of those little short rings.
Yeah,
Got a
they're
ton of
making a
those.
lot of their own parts now. That's cool.
Yeah, I looked through this area earlier and I didn't really see too much else new down here. They're still working on this little what you call it? Um, wow,
Turntable for a booster.
turntable. Yeah, couldn't think of the right word for it. Turntable for a booster. Um, but other than that, not really much happening in this area.
There's that square piece that's off to the right. It's so weird, like trying to figure out what these little pieces are for, if they're just jigs for
Very,
something else or loading systems.
very
I don't know.
random.
It's Yeah, that's like one of them, and there's just more pieces like that that are just all over.
Random. random jigs that they're making.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure there's nothing else down here. We got a lonely grid fin, and let's move on.
Yeah, Gridfin's been there for months.
So did we have any questions from the build side that we haven't touched on?
No questions directly to the build site. They're mainly for the launch site. But I do want to thank a couple of memberships here that Rocket Profit gifted 5 memberships, John Dopker 5 memberships, and also we also had, give me a second, wasn't ready. $2 donation by Sharpie. This is for 500 likes. Thank you so much for that. Hank Decker just became a member. Thank you for that. And that's about it for now. There is a question about the pest dispenser. Will NC31 be equipped with a pest dispenser to see how it handles max Q?
Nope. There's no signs of it having a Pez dispenser. So we're looking at just a like regular stretch form nose cone. Looks like a pretty clean barrel section potentially. But they could change it out last minute. But everything else says it looks to be just a regular nose cone barrel. So they're trying to test the nose cone mostly.
Hmm.
And while we're here, as we mentioned, the donation for 500 likes, I see 916 people watching, and we've only got 524 likes. Hit that thumbs up.
And if you'd also share it to your friends or on Twitter, we're about 2/3 of the way through, and would love to see it if we can break 1,000 this week. That would be awesome.
Have we ever broken 1,000 before?
I don't think so. We got close last week. I think we could do it this week.
Today's the day. You guys have we seen these get delivered, or did they just build them here?
No, these
They
get
delivered.
they're delivered. They're trailered in.
Okay.
And they're taking away the wall, the fence just right there. So it's just disappearing as far as the United Rentals lot, and
Oh, you mean right here?
yeah, that's
Deleting
really
it?
cool.
Yeah, it looks like they're cutting them all the. Huh. Interesting. I mean, with how much concrete they need to be using, that you'd think they would just, drill it all out, and then instead of having to cut these, it'd be easier to just smash out all the concrete. But anyways,
Quickly view just for the quick moment. Can you zoom out and see the wiring spools? Okay, it really doesn't look like it's changed much. I hope to see these start disappearing soon, and we'll hopefully see some of these just around on site. So as they are using these up, that means that they are powering up or getting things ready to be powered up for the mains lines from let's see, what was that? Magic Valley Energy LLC.
yeah, and I mean, it doesn't look like the pile's grown since the last time we've seen it, but maybe they can't really fit more
Things have
here.
shifted around a bunch, I can see,
Yeah.
but it looks like everything's still there.
Yeah, I haven't been able to figure out where these houses are going yet. I don't see ground necessarily being prepared for it, unless
Just right there, probably.
right here.
Yeah, that would be a great place for them. It's like the trailer park, and these are kind of like that. where these
Also,
are
look
airstreams and
up
everything else.
off of the back of Weems.
Off the back of what?
Off the far side, off of Weems, behind Weems. There's another set of plots going in.
Yeah, that should have it. But yeah, those are the both sides really for the trailers.
There's some of them.
Oh wow, they got little roof decks.
That's awesome.
Is that so they can watch the launches from their house? No, never
Static
mind.
fires, maybe.
Yeah, static fires.
Yeah, they'll
Mhm.
clear out the village for all launches, so everybody gets cleared out.
Yeah, it's like a front porch, almost like a patio. Put dinner tables on top of it or something.
I just don't know how you get up there. There's no stairs, and I don't
Don't see any
see the
ladders or
ladder.
anything.
But
Interesting.
yeah,
I
it's
see
fun.
the gate on the front right corner. The railing has a gap.
Yeah, maybe
They must be putting up a ladder stairs there.
that's fun.
It's like a bunk bed, but awesome. Like it's for a house.
Bunk beds are awesome.
Hey, look, another one getting delivered. Wait,
No, that's a moving truck.
moving truck.
Yeah, somebody's
Dang.
moving in.
They need a truck that big for.
They're moving from Hawthorne.
And it's not Gwen.
Like 5 people. Cool. So we got over here, it looks like they're adding some road base in so they can maybe pave this
No,
possibly.
they're just gonna landscape that area, and the road base is just for people walking through, and it looks really nice. So off to the left, that green little patch, that's where the hovercraft lands to drop off passengers. And it is a hovercraft. It hovers across the water and it goes back and forth between Salt Padre and here. So it costs maybe 15 minutes to do that versus anywhere from yeah, right there.
That's so funny.
That's not a little
Two,
hovercraft either.
two
It's like
images
12
later,
passengers.
it looks
Yeah.
like it had just left right when or they're getting in there right now to leave. Were they gone in this image?
Saves them so much time because the traffic on
Can't see.
SPI's bridge is terrible, especially at rush hour. It can cost you like an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes to get down here.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I couldn't even find that other image where I was looking at. But yeah, that's funny. So what else we got? I don't see much down here. Does look like
They're
they're
doing some grass off to the left. That's grass. They're going to go through and reseed it. You can already see that they've reseeded below it.
oh, really?
Yeah. So
Oh,
the other image just to the right, or that works too. So yeah, they're going to continue to reseed that area. So uh, this is Cameron County like road technically, and so it's part of their easements.
oh man, I just realized they redid this. I didn't know they finished that already.
Looks great.
Yeah. I was really hoping they were going to trade out these for some that are tiled, but you
Or
know,
just put in a couple more tiled flaps in there, and then finish off the rest with the black material. That'd be
right?
cool.
You could. Well, no, that would look weird putting the forward flaps over here. Nah, don't do that. Anyways, let's move over to the launch site, shall we?
Yeah, got an hour left, and we still have tons to go through.
Cool, let's do it. Starting over at the suborbital tank farm. Oh man.
Oh, look at the
So
crane, how it's laid down. That is awesome.
yeah, it's it's funny because I am wondering if this entire time that little area right there was made for that crane. And this is a better one. Like the whole purpose of this was to lay down the crane.
I thought it was going to go to the right, but it works out either way.
Like if we ever need to lay down the crane, this is where we do it at. That's
Well, if you look on the lab cam, it ain't there no more.
And by the way, one thing you'll see, just look at that dirt berm. You see a little bit of concrete along the edge, and then they've got a lot of formwork set up to do concrete. And then the ground shots show a different picture. But
um,
we'll get to that a little bit later because those are closer to the end.
I think I have them right now.
Okay,
I always wonder why
perfect.
SpaceX didn't buy their own concrete company just for a few years.
Well, they do have a pretty good relationship with Kappa, so that's how they're working right now, and it's profitable for both of them.
Yeah, you can see the wall in the back right there. It's not all the way to the top yet. I'm guessing I don't know why they did it in two different pours, but yeah. So
Yeah, they'll
going
probably
back,
just level it out, and then your bottom concrete holds the top concrete.
right, that makes sense. Yeah. Do you think they're going to do the backside too, or just the front?
I wish they do the backside as well. You
I
can
would
see like how much
expect
it's slumped.
I would expect them to do the backside just like they did on test stand A.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to look really good when it's done. Always nice covering up dirt.
The Three Amigos are going to get pelted though.
Yeah, they'll be all right. They've survived. They survived so many explosions. It's like I wouldn't even worry about these things anymore.
They still don't have the top caps after SN4.
What's this?
What?
Oh, I got lost.
Invisible
Hold on.
boxes?
That's what it looks like. I don't think we can see that from the ground. Let me get us to
I
it.
think we looked at these ones before, and they were super simple. It was just like steel cages or something.
Nothing exciting.
like chicken wire mesh cages or something.
Yeah, that's why it looks invisible here. It's
Well,
just
I
too
guess I
thin.
won't
But if
bother.
you find a good
finding-
picture of them, you can show them. Maybe I'm misremembering, but that's what it seemed like they were.
Yeah, that's not exciting at all.
Keeping those chickens out.
Yeah, where are the chickens?
Actually, maybe they
Um,
keep the chickens in, and they will do all of their pest control with the chickens. That's a
Actually,
very green
what
way of
those
doing it.
probably are is unfilled HESCO cages.
Oh, for HESCO barriers. Small, short ones.
would make sense. They just need to put the fabric around them.
Probably a bag inside and fill it with dirt. Yep.
Interesting. So going back to the aerial, maybe. Okay. We got a little stain, skid mark. So hey, no, those are just pipes.
Yeah,
Right.
they're all off. Well, hold on. They are tower pieces, I think, because they
Well,
go back
we've
and
seen
forth.
these from the ground. We know these are pipes.
Oh, they do.
This could change everything.
They are probably flare end pipes, so they have to stagger them so they can stack them tight. Yep.
Yeah, it is pipes. Those panels have been
These are
driving
the
us
same
crazy. Where
ones.
did they go?
These are are these not the same ones?
They're the same ones. Yeah, that's it.
Or what we thought they were?
Yeah, they're pipe.
Well,
Yeah, they're flare end pipe, and that's why they're staggered. Is because the end flares out, and to keep them tight, you have to stagger the flares.
right,
Oh,
everybody.
okay. So the panels themselves are completely black surface. They don't have the corrugation look at all. And then the ends have this kind of weird shape to it, like pipe, but it's completely flat on the surface. So let's not get tricked again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Have they been doing anything down here? It doesn't. It kind of looks like it, but not really.
A little bit of work, but it's not a whole lot.
Yeah,
Most of it's been for that crane.
yeah. And we have 25 sitting on the pad. Not any testing happening though.
25. Can
Um,
you protect me from 24/7?
Moving on a little bit, we have um, really nothing else happening at this orbital tank farm. There's like literally nothing ever happening there these days.
Storage moves
We're
around a
always
bit, but that's about it.
Yeah, still the same pile of storage over here. Um, were all those a lot of those valves over here initially? Well, there's still some over here too.
There's valves all over the place, and you can see them. They stand out because they're red or blue, and
All right. Well, let's move over to the orbital tank farm, shall we? Actually, this time I think we're gonna have to go. Hmm. Let's let's go to the ground images first. Nope, nope. This only makes sense if we start at the launch site or the launch pad. So we're gonna talk about the orbital launch pad, or at least the water deluge system. Um, and
huge news.
yeah, great news. So as of this flyover, we finally are able to see what this looks like from the air. Well, I guess we saw it from SpaceX's images um, from the wet dress rehearsal, but
For
you can
that,
see,
and this is Monday.
This is
yeah,
better.
yeah, and so we can see that they had the bases for um, the 4 horizontal tanks. So let me just pull those up so we have a reference. So these 4 tanks right here should go right next to each other. Um,
You can see the pipe actually is the one that's underneath the. If you go back one,
yeah,
so
yeah,
there's that pipe underneath. Those are the pipes that go underneath those 4.
yeah. So there's underneath each of these 4, there's you can't really see it from this angle, but there's a port on the bottom, and so these all sit on top of that. And uh, I think that'll probably be the first piece lifted in, because they're gonna want to lay that down on top of these 2 pads. Um, and well, I'm actually a little bit surprised that this isn't underground, buried a little bit, but I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. There's probably going to be some heavy framework, I guess, to hold that pipe then. But if we look at images a little bit further on, we can see that as Mauricio was Okay.
Closer to the end of it, where you see the massive change. Yeah, they
Yeah.
start pouring.
So they started adding in the concrete in between these to finish off that pad. And interesting part about this was where that crane had, or sorry, where this pumper truck had just came from, which was right down in this area, um, building a little wall. I don't know if this is just like a retaining wall to keep us out or what.
No, it's a retaining wall to keep water in. So you see this little retention pond right there, this tiny little thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be massive. So it's going to basically go all the way up the side of the yeah, all the way up through to the right, and you just kind of continue pretty much all the way, I think, to past the launch table, and then it continues all the way down to the left, over
You think it's going to
to
be all the way over here?
yeah.
Well, you do have these pipes underground right here. That's the one thing.
Well, those pipes are going to basically be in a. I think they're just going to start digging up this area, pulling up the soil for a larger retention pond. So they're going to retain as much water from a water deluge as possible.
So let's look at this
My
from a. Go ahead.
my question is always, where have they buried the least conduit, piping, et cetera? And that might be in that area right there, because you don't want to go around the other way. There's so much underground here.
And so the water deluge system here, the pipe work, is probably going to be all above ground, just like at 39A. It makes sense because you can maintain it, and then the only place where it's going to go underground is near the launch table.
That's
This
where the
is
most pipes are. No,
There's
that's where you have to go.
Yeah.
interesting things in this angle. So I don't know if these this is weird. So this is not scaffolding, but it's basically like a rail.
It is
But
scaffolding.
It's
yeah,
scaffold.
so but it looks like a walkway, like you could walk in between them. And I don't know if this is just up here. Initially, I thought it was here, so that kind of like a safety thing to stop you from driving over the edge, since uh, these stoppers have been removed. I forget the curbs have been removed. Actually, you can see them down here where they deleted them. Um, so initially, I thought that maybe that was just stopping people from driving over the edge, but it's looks like a walkway. So I don't know. Um,
Well, they got to
but
keep it up vertically somehow, and you have to make a square to do that with the scaffolding.
So Zach,
you think there's a ditch
it,
along that whole way?
yeah, I think you had the right idea. I think it's the only way they can build a vertical fence out of scaffold pieces is like this. Go back underneath the OLM and explain to me tarps.
Um, yeah, I don't really know what that's about, but we can see it from the aerial view as well too. Um, they have a tarp underneath here.
It's where the construction vest of 24 fell off. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's almost like a. Well, I mean, it's probably dirty now, but like if you wanted to cover up the entire engine compartment at one time. Um, although I just don't think that's what it is. I have no idea what it
But yeah,
is.
it looks like a worker safety vest. Is the colors and the size is just a bit big.
Yeah. Any ideas
But
of what it is?
Thomas, for you, there's a ladder in the middle of it.
Yes. Well, it looks like they're just working with stuff above it, and it's like they're trying to protect the fondag below. It's really odd. I wonder if it had anything to do with the WDR, and they're like trying to protect the fondag, but it doesn't make any sense.
No. Yeah, I'm at a loss on this one.
It could even be Martite related, like they went through and did some corrective stuff to the fondag with Martite, and they're protecting it, but it just appears to be a protective cover. But that's about it.
So you're saying the tarp's not staying there? It's not a structural tarp for the orbital launch?
Yeah, well, it's keeping the whole launch pad together. That's what it is. I love structural tarps. That's a fun joke back with a poster that was from Simpsons. It was a structural poster. That was the original joke.
Don't take it down, the whole building will fall.
Exactly. But yeah, you can see those curb stops got removed there, and if you get to the ground photos here, things really make a dramatic change in this area.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's the right one to show.
All
Um,
of them. There you go. There's the retaining wall.
yeah, so we're looking a little bit past it right now. Um, this is looking back towards the tank farm. Um, So you can see that this is like, yeah, I was just looking at the scaffolding still, but there's nothing on the outside of it as far as like preparations. Ooh, are these little concrete pads right here?
Yeah, that was for the drainage system that they've got. So it starts over there.
Well, but the concrete pad didn't connect to the main pad.
No, no, no. This is for that like that whole drainage system that they have. So they have these concrete pads basically as protective covers over part of it. But yeah, if you zoom back out, the cool part is this retaining wall. It's about 5 feet tall, maybe 6 feet tall, depending on like where you end up with the dirt.
Is there a better picture of it?
Yeah, there's a quite a few actually in that area. So I think you have to go back. So I think you skipped a few of that area. So just to the left. So this is looking at the stairs and everything else on the diverter, but then you have
What is this
this
looking
new
at?
wall. The concrete forms. Can you zoom out a little bit more? It's hard to gauge where I'm at.
This is the tower right here.
Yeah. So we've got the concrete forms right there. I'm having a hard time placing those ones.
Oh, I think I get it. This is the hold on. We'll show it
That's
from
about
So
where the locks dump pond is, if
in
I'm
right
reading it
right
right.
here. Yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can get us a better shot.
oh, that's right. It does zigzag. So if you do the aerial shot, you can see how it zigzags with the wall.
Right.
And we're looking across two of the same retaining wall, but it's all connected together right here, like this.
This.
Yeah, and then you zoom out even more, you'll see the retaining wall is actually continuing all the way up to the left.
So it's basically replacing all of this.
Yeah,
So they got a long way to go.
yeah. I'm not sure how far they're going, but at least to the water deluge system, and maybe even all the way around. So zoom out a little bit more if you can, because I've got a crazy theory, but it just might hold water. Um,
Was that a pun?
yes, it was.
I didn't like it.
So if you could show that whole pad area to the, can you see the
Is
I want
this
to
a
see
bad
more
one?
to the right. Yeah, see more to
Hold
the
on.
right as well.
Let me let's do this.
Yeah, that's perfect. So you see that giant block of dirt that's just been confusing us forever? They did start to make a little bit of changes to that dirt, but not much. Nothing too significant. Just like people walking around and a little bit of shovel work. But it to me feels like they are going to put in a large water tank right here. So
Yep.
this would be the same kind of water tank that they have like two of over at Starbase in I'm sorry Cape Canaveral on 39A. So they have this double walled tank, and I'm very certain that it's a water tank because it's
We have
a
to throw
metal
out the
bottom and
disclaimer.
concrete.
We have to throw out the disclaimer though that we don't know for sure because a lot of people are very set on it being a LOX tank, but
100% confirmed. Got it.
not anybody on this team. We're
Yeah,
team water.
so yeah, well, I'm definitely team water because there's a steel plate and it's directly against concrete, the concrete surface. That's how the company builds these. And the rest of it is basically a water tank that would be how you would describe it because it would be something that's room temperature. It would not be cryogenic because if you were putting concrete against steel, it's going to start boiling that off and destroying the concrete. Uh, there's just too much problems with cryo. So water or something room temperature, but that's going to be the best option. Would be water for your water deluge system. Anyways, you would have this be a water tank. The next part is to the right. You have your those five. I'm sorry, four tanks that will be going across this way. Those are your water hammer tanks, and with the nitrogen tanks as well that will be going left to right.
Yeah. So circling back on the Massey's image, the oh the
There's those
compressed
nitrogen
gas
tanks.
tanks, yeah, these right here, they actually have more than we thought they did, or at least one more. So there's 6 and 6, I believe. Oh wait, 5 and 5. Um, so there's 10 of them, and yeah, you can see that they'll just both stack up next to each other.
There's one above it. That's why you can not see it
Oops,
in that same image.
wrong image, wrong image.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they stack them on top of each other.
yeah, stack
As
them on
they-
top of each other. They go right here. And so eh, obviously these are going to store nitrogen gas in them, and they're going to need to get that nitrogen from somewhere. But a very important part about this whole thing is the need for a water tank, and that's the whole thing that like throws me off a little bit. Is because um, well, the I don't think it's possible to. They definitely don't have enough large pipe to go from here to there. And that would be very odd to do that because you're bypassing the location where you need the water in order to get the buffer tank, and you got to come back. Um, so that wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. Um, so that's why and well, there is one more possibility. Like, oh, maybe they just store the water in these tanks and then use the nitrogen to force it out. Maybe, but that's not really. I said that last week, and just looking at this over again, like I'm just sticking to my gut that yeah, like there's more than likely going to be a giant water tank here, which
Okay.
given the positioning makes a ton of sense. The problem is, well, I guess it's not really a problem per se, um, but that's going to limit when it happens because that tank that they built at 39A was not a quick job.
no, it was not.
It
And
was
like the company that's building them, like they are very good at building water tanks of various types. And so like you could see these appear very quickly as far as let's say parts of it from Sanchez and or wherever they want to build the pieces. However, you're right, it's going to take a while. You could use just some pumps and the current tanks and the nitrogen to do part of a deluge system, but the question is that people want to know, is this going to be before the test flight or after? And it's like you could do part of it before, but the rest will be after. Unless
yeah.
you're going to delay by 6 months or something.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a little bit odd though, just because for all the rest of it, they seem to be like in a pretty big rush. Like we got Grover out here currently. Most of the, or sorry, all of the compressed gas cylinders have been delivered to the launch site already. Um, the tanks have not shown up yet, as far as I know, but I also haven't looked at the streams yet today. And at least one of the large pipes has shown up. But yeah, I mean, I would expect to see that the one of the very first things to go in, other than these tanks, would be that large water pipe, because you're going to need to put that down before you put all the other
Zach,
tanks.
I'm going to throw out a different idea. I think those footings are not for the compressed gas tanks, but they're for the two valve manifolds. Because those are going to have much more force on them than the compressed gas tanks that can almost sit on the ground. Because you need two sets of footings spread pretty far apart to put those 6-elbow manifolds facing each other.
I think the only thing that has me like set on it being that way is just because of how it was laid out initially at
Well, but
KSP.
this would have that manifold in the center lined up exactly with the pipes under the tanks.
Yeah, it does have the alignment in the center. That's a really good point, Dave. That
Wait,
if
what
you
you
look at
said?
those,
Valve
that
manifold?
yeah, so the valve manifold that's on the basically the two pipes that were one's below the other, they would connect to each other in a straight line.
Right here?
Where's your mouse?
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah. So from straight across, from left to right in the middle, that is kind of alignment of the way you could potentially do the pipes. It doesn't have to be that way. I like your idea of the nitrogen tank sitting there, but you
Oh,
could do the valves directly
Those just
across.
look like awfully big footings for basically passive gas tanks.
Now, the one thing that I would say kind of kills the idea, Dave, is the width of these pads.
it's
They're
pretty
just
much
too
there.
narrow for what we're looking at for those pipes. So the ones on the right are nice and wide for the pipe. The ones on the
Well,
left are
we
just too
did. I
short.
did see, and I can't find him in this image. There were some saddles over there that we spotted
Yeah,
that
the
I
ground
think
images. We
are
have a nice view of
yeah
that,
that
I
I
think,
think
somewhere.
are for the these pads and the manifold under the tanks will sit in those saddles.
Yeah, that's the two on the right will definitely be the saddled because they are the same on the ship as well. If you actually look at the flyover from the barge, you can see those saddles as well. Just to the left, I'm sorry, the right side of the transport stand. So you can see the saddle right there.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
This?
it's a pipe saddle.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so that would go underneath the tanks though for this.
Yep.
Correct.
But so you're thinking that the other bases could be for this thing?
Yes.
Well, if you put this one and that one next to each other, they would essentially reach over two of these. I think it's way too big. They're way too big to be placed in that location. But I mean, if we look at how it's originally laid out, I feel like that kind of just tells the story of what it's going to look like.
Well, I
Let me
think originally weren't the gas tanks off the end of the surge tanks,
Yeah.
they
not
were
the side?
in that exact position. I kind of opened this up in the wrong place, but that's fine.
No, that's 90 degrees to what we're looking at.
This,
Yes.
these, yes, are rotated from where they were. They would be rotated this way, but the actual base for them is they're right next to each other. You know what I mean? Whereas the pipes being underground like this, I don't know. I don't know. It makes sense to me that these are going to go on top of that base because I don't see how you could get those pipes on top of that base. It doesn't really. I don't get
It's
it.
a thin base, and that doesn't make sense, but it is brought the right size for either one of those. And that's the worst part about this is like we will see when's our next flyover, Mauricio? We were talking about this before because that's a question that comes up each week of when you think you'll be going for the attempt for the next flyover, the weather dependent, of course.
Right. I'm still looking at the weather, but right now it looks like either Wednesday or Thursday might work. So we're shooting for those days right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you should definitely get Patreon if you don't have it, because you can come in live and do a show and tell. We'll go through the images from the flyover, all of the images, and basically do what we do each week here, but we analyze it directly and talk about it, and it's all raw and live each week.
Yeah.
Actually, twice a week, because we do also Fridays for the ground shots.
I want to move to the front of the tank farm really quick because there is another part of this system that has to be completed as well. And let's see what the best image to show this is. I don't think we can see the pipe at all. Oh, there we go. Here we go. And it wasn't laid at this time. Oh, there it is. So along the wall of the um, right behind the methane tanks, they started putting in these um, pipe stands basically, and you can see this pipe running across it, and then it goes over here, turns up there.
It's just got two elbows and just kind of rotates up. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and there's a confusing part right here because right now, um, it looks like they're gonna come across and possibly turn because there's another one over here, but I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that may not be the case. We have over on this side this brand new vaporizer that got installed a few weeks ago. This is probably a better angle to look at it from. But this vaporizer is in between the two nitrogen tanks, and it's still not connected to anything. So it makes sense that the nitrogen gas or your liquid nitrogen come directly out of these tanks through here. Wait, what? What's this on the backside? Oh, that's going down into the manifold. Hold on. Let me.
That's an old pipe. Yep, it's behind it.
Okay. Okay, it's behind it. Yeah. So there are two pumps to the left and right of this, which we can't really see in this image. But I'm pretty positive that that nitrogen source is coming to this location. So I don't know. They may not want it to come directly across the front of the tanks potentially and go in through the back, which would be weird. When they could just come across the front. But yeah, to me, that's kind of where it looks like it's going. But we're gonna have to wait to see where the rest of these pipe stands go.
Can you show us the back side of the fuel tanks from the air?
Ooh, that was the one I was seeing in the background. It's the one that's holding this, I think.
The cable tray stand.
Yeah. Well,
Because yeah, there's a bunch of new
oh no,
pipe
this is it right
or
here.
yeah, there's new stands that are just actual cable trays, stands, and pipe stands all over the backside as well. And it kind of seems to be headed that direction for what we're seeing here. But it could just end up going straight down from there. So it's like it goes directly to the ground, and that confuses us. But yeah, just go to the backside, 2 images, 3 images over. You can see the pipe stands basically run along the whole backside, and they've got cable trays all over the back there now. So on the left side, especially.
There was a better angle with this. I actually kind of like this angle. Because you can see where they're coming from. So basically, what's happening? Well, number one, they completed this cable tray on, or not completed it, but they laid a cable tray on top of the bunker. Then there's the pipe. There's a bunch of pipes that come out up here, conduit, sorry, go underneath the ground over here, come to this control box, and then there's this really cool looking roller coaster of cable tray that straddles the liquid oxygen pipe, goes all the way over there and stops. Um,
There's just a lot of stuff going on in this area. It's like
yeah,
between, and then it continues actually over to the left. You can see that you've got at least 2 more pipe racks,
hey, look,
and
these are
then
the
it goes to
boxes
those
that we
single
saw
ones over the left.
at
Oh, those are
Massey.
the weird ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, those have to be like control systems.
yeah.
And I bet there's probably electronics inside and other things that are are sensitive, and that'd be cool. It's probably pneumatic or something, but
It'll be interesting to see where this goes next. I mean, I don't know where they could possibly need more controls, um, unless it's going all the way over to that deluge system over there. But that's again an interesting way to get there. Um, they sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
so like the like continuing with these pipe racks. Should we go from the I guess the front side again to show a little bit there, and then we'll have to go to the ground shot to show kind of the rest of it here.
Yeah. So oh, this is not a good one. This kind of shows it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
So
so
you
we can at
can see
least see where
along
they
it all the
were.
way, and
Let
it
me see what
continues
else.
up.
Did they have any in the ground at this point though?
So they're all bolted down, and so we can't show the image I'm talking about, but it was one from Chief from What About It. So you should subscribe to their Patreon as well to see this. But the craziest part is there's pipe stands going all across from the same direction there, all the way down to basically, yeah, around there a little bit further down. And it's like the craziest thing. Why are there pipe stands going out to here? And so it's like they're going in two different directions. And there's two different levels of the pipe rack as well, we can see. So it does make sense that there's two different directions, but why go this direction? And it's up high too, so it doesn't make sense for an offloading and loading area. It's just it is confusing.
I didn't get why they didn't go behind everything. Like they could have just went behind and across everything. It's nitrogen. It's not like they're running oxygen over there, you know? Like they could
It's
have
just
came
probably
behind
ease of
it.
access and the speed at which they're going. It tells us that they want to get this in as soon as
ASAP.
possible.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, you can see all the pipe stands right here.
Yeah, they're different sizes too. So, like you can see that they've got it's a bolted system. It doesn't go into the ground. It just bolts onto the ground, and they've got anchor bolts directly for connecting the bottom. You can see them on one of the what are they called the ground shots. But yeah, you
Oh,
can see right there how it just bolts down.
ground shots. Let's see if I have a
Oh no, we don't see it on it. It's the what about it one I'm thinking of still as
okay.
far as the bolts. But the other shot here, we do have a ground shot from Mauricio. It's
Man,
looking it sees those at least those two poles, and it's continuing down. And you had a really interesting theory. Do you want to explain what the pipes that are headed basically along the methane tank are all about here?
right. Yeah. So um basically, thank you for getting me back on track because I forgot about that. Um
It's a big one.
it's the wrong image that I'm switching to. Um, but yeah, so basically you have the vaporizer, which is over in between. This is a terrible image. The vaporizer is in between these two tanks right here, and so this is your liquid nitrogen. So you basically, what I think is happening, you vaporize the liquid nitrogen using this, and then it runs all the way behind this wall, and then somehow it's going to have to go underground at some point, I think. But after it does that, then it would reach over to um, this pad over here, basically. And so with those compressed gas tanks being back here, that's how they would fill those. You are basically just sending high pressure nitrogen gas to these tanks, which serve as the buffer tanks for that water deluge system.
And so they'll need a trench to do that. And speaking of trenches, is that what I see next to the CO2 tank?
Yes, that is interesting because it's the placement of it is just weird. I mean, it's just I don't know where they're going to go with this pipe. If it's going to curve around this wall and then go like I don't know the direction that they chose to get there. Well, the problem is that they could go underground, but this area right here, like, is so packed in with pipes that go underneath there that it's probably pretty much impossible to do that. Um, but I mean, even through the backside of this wall, I thought would have been faster. Um, I guess you need a bigger crane to get in there to like lift stuff, but yeah, I
It's
don't
all
know.
about ease of access, and they want it done fast.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they redo it later and make it look a little more cute. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're most likely going to see that attached back here, which would be very interesting. And still, with all that being said, definitely missing the actual water tank, which um, big question is where are they going to construct that? Um, yeah, I don't know
Is
where they would be able to do that at.
can you hear me now, Zach?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, mic was out. But hey, don't they already have nitrogen running to the tower? I mean, why build a whole separate pathway there when you could just trench from the tower to that deluge area and feed nitrogen that way?
um, Probably pressure, if I had to
Well,
guess.
they're pressurizing it, repressurizing it at the deluge area, aren't they?
Well, we're talking mostly about methane and oxygen when you're dealing with a launch for the tower. So you wouldn't be able to use the same pipelines there.
Well, they probably do have a gaseous nitrogen pipe coming here.
For
Uh, no,
purging.
I take that back because the same pipe that they could use that they use for methane and oxygen pressure prepress could also switch over to nitrogen. Like that's what happens on the launch mount. So I don't know and don't think there is necessarily a reason for a pure nitrogen line going all the way up there. Well, unless they're putting it in the COPVs, which they may be.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking is they could ride share the nitrogen. And heck, even there, when they're offloading the nitrogen, like putting the back pressure to unload it from those pipes, they could just put it in the deluge area right there rather than sending it all the way back to the farm.
Where does that
And another part about it is that it's big is the amount of pressure. So the COPVs, they can hold up to let's say like 50 bar or something, where these other ones that are the nitrogen tanks will be up to like 250 bar or even more. Like the amount of pressure that you can put in these small cylindrical tanks that will be behind the water tanks is just enormous. So that will be a difference as well.
You know what this reminds me of? California. Anyways, um,
I don't get it.
okay, sorry,
Little,
LA.
little fault.
Yeah.
Oh, LA. I get it now.
I
um,
would like to point out if they really want to pressurize those tanks, I mean, just put a little methane and oxygen in them. You're good to go.
oh, hopefully not.
High pressure.
um, but yeah, I mean that's as far as we can tell, that's what is most likely going to be going down over here. And really excited to see that. I think before the week's over, we'll probably see all of that equipment over here. And then the interesting part is how they get the pipes to like if they go underground or not to get to the launch site or the launch ring. And also, given that we know that the pieces that we thought were going to be part of the deluge ring are now clearly not, um, it'll be interesting to see what kind of water system they actually end up putting here. So we don't know if it'll surround the whole thing or if it's just going to spray in from one or two sides or something like that. It's going to be very interesting to see how they end up doing this.
So I've got those two pictures that I posted earlier. If you want to bring those up now, this is a perfect time to talk about it. We've got that deluge ring in at 39A. It's just a ring around it. It's using like 20-degree angles and then some straight pipes, and then it has a bunch of other little parts that stick out.
Wait, are you
But
talking about the
yeah, we'll go to the old
Barge?
image. I'm just describing the 39A has that deluge system. What's
Oh,
amazing is the pipes and the size of pipes. We had these before. So do you have that image now? So this is back in SN4 days. So that's SN3 to the far right, and then just that's SN4 there. This is before it blew up. But to the far right, you can see those little pipes at the very far right corner.
trying to like zoom in. It's really weird zooming in
It's
a
a massive panorama. I
panoramic.
found
Yeah.
it, or I put together from a video. I found that they just panned the drone. I'm like, oh, that would be a cool panorama.
Wow, this
So
is
yeah, they've
so
got
quaint.
yeah.
So
So
long ago.
this is the launch site right here. Like they have these pipes and they have 8 of them, and it's like they're the same diameter as what we have for the water pipes right now at the water deluge at in here, just the same location. It's just like they were
Maybe
intending to do this originally.
maybe if we're super lucky, they secretly buried these years ago and they're already there.
I've searched far and wide, and I promise you they have not.
By the way,
Oh,
those tanks at the top to the left, those are pretty much on the bunker, the top of the bunker.
Are you sure those are the same ones?
Yeah, those are the same ones. Like they were floating around forever, and then they finally put them on the bunker, or at least a good portion of them.
These are different.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where they put those, but yeah, they had a bunch of stuff that just kind of sat around forever, and then they finally did use some of it. And those pipes, they did go missing. They were at Sanchez, and they're gone.
Oh wait, these ones are the.
Yeah, there they are. So they've got a few of them, but they may have traded out for newer models because I'm looking at these, and it looks like they're 4. Oh wait, yeah, they just stacked on top of each other. Never mind.
so you know how they say you shouldn't watch the sausage getting made? I feel like, we're watching all this so closely, and these poor SpaceX engineers, we're making it look like, they have these ideas and they abandon them and they come up with new ones and they're just all over the place.
Well, no,
And
like they have a good idea. It's we see this with Mark One, for instance. They had both header tanks at the front of the vehicle, and then they went back to that as of like the Ship 24 series. And it's like a good idea never dies. It should never die. You should come back to it and find a better way to iterate on that idea if you can.
man, you remember when they said Mark One was going to fly? What was that 2019?
Yes,
Oh God, we thought it was possible.
they thought
But
it was possible too until they realized it wasn't. I mean, they had such wonderful success with Hoppy that I think that they were really pushing for it, and then it became a issue of quality over speed.
Um, Speaking of quality, I noticed something weird over here, which it looks like they're laying rebar down underneath this.
Yeah, they're trying to probably level that out, so there's just too much water accumulating against that wall, and it could potentially affect the foundation. So the rebar matting is to do some additional concrete right there.
I am looking for another angle.
So remember the concrete underneath, they graded that long before these tanks came in.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, if you just reslope it a little bit, you can have it go to the left instead, and so your water drains properly, and you do not have the mosquito populations that eat you alive.
Well, what about all the water in here? There's a lot of water that builds up in here too.
There's not much you can do about that besides throwing in the like the bacteria that go after the mosquitoes in the ponds. So you
Or
have
they
to
could
kind of
put like
refresh.
rocks down in here, you know? I'm surprised they don't have like a rock, like that Alabama pebbles that
Oh, that
GPJ
would
was
be
talking about.
beautiful.
Yeah, like just put some rocks underneath there and have a little bed. That's what it looks like on most like oil and gas sites. Come
But
on.
the same problem would occur eventually if you get enough water, it starts to pool up and it will still retain the water and actually retain it a bit more. But because you have so much rock, the mosquitoes can't get at the water below.
Exactly.
That's an interesting thought. And then you could do the same thing to the right as well.
I know there's a guy in Brownsville selling rocks.
Like we saw the sign, right?
Um, well, I don't know. I think that was most of the updates that I saw from this week. Thomas, did you have anything else? Oh wait, we haven't even talked about the actual launch site, launch mount itself. What am I doing?
Stage zero Zach is skipping to stage zero. What's going on?
I'm excited about the deluge stuff. Um, well, I guess let's go back to the ground images. You can see the launch mount is looking nice and pretty with its temporary paint on it. Yeah, it's looks like it's ready for a static fire. They're gonna obviously have to replace everything again after the static fire, as far as the paint goes. I think the concrete is gonna hold up.
So I asked this question the other day. Why do they paint before static fire? And it's like the reasons why you would do it is it will protect it during the static fire up to a certain degree. And then after the static fire, you will see where they will have the potential issues. Like where is it that you really need additional paint or even protection that you didn't think about before? And then this one, oh look at those stairs. Zoom in on the stairs as much as you can. You can see that is why they need the protection.
This is the same guy. This is the same guy that's always watching Mauricio when he's out there. I swear, I always see him. I always catch him watching you. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's awesome. But like the stairs just look mangled. They are not pretty at all. That patina, it looks like it's 50 years old.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess this isn't the best image to
Yeah, a
show.
little bit of heat distortion there, but it's bad, and I don't trust those railings. Like the stairs look okay, but the railings, not on your life.
Roasted.
Yeah, this is burnt marshmallow here. So
Yeah,
this is why they need to
I can
protect
like
it.
feel it in my hands. I know what the rail feels like. I feel like there's some old buildings in New York. Like if you go up the fire escapes outside, that's what they feel like.
Your life is at risk by touching these, right?
You gotta
It's like,
love.
do you have uh, your shots to protect you from the rusted surfaces?
I like this little addition they had here. I was wondering what that was going to look like at the end, but it's kind of hollow. That'll be. I don't think that really matters, but yeah. Um, Looking at it from this angle, we can see that they've also started to add some scaffolding to the side, and this has grown even since these images were taken. Um,
Is that just for painting? Do you think?
I think that the painting was already done, so that's the weird part. I mean, unless they're trying to paint this stuff, my hope is that like looking at the top of this right here, it looks like some oops, it looks like something is meant to sit on top of it because that's how all the other ones were.
Kind of like the one in
Uh,
down below, how they did the same thing with the stairs.
yeah, I think the stairs look. Oh man,
The other side of the stairs, yeah.
um, it's tough to see it, but they kind of look the same. Like they're waiting for like you can obviously tell there's going to be more panels on this. But I believe that well, I don't think this is what's happening, but I hope it is. That they may be installing brackets in here that would allow them to then put on a protective panel for this whole thing. But at the same time, the way they're covering up this pipe with these, they're basically like sleeves. They're I don't even know if they're metal, but they're like
Yeah,
compression
those are
sleeves.
metal.
Yeah, and so they're essentially metal on top of insulation on top of metal. Um,
It was
and
like a quick, like we're having static fires. We're having a little bit of issue with uh, the impingement just destroying some of this insulation. So they replaced some of the insulation and started putting these on as a quick temporary solution. But it works also in the long term as well, especially if you cover it over. It's like just additional protection.
yeah, I
I
mean,
do want to see this entire thing covered for those lines.
it's
That
not.
is so critical to me.
if they move the scaffolding all the way over, then that may give us more of a sign. Like before anything, we'll see some brackets get added on here if that's the case, though. If they're going to do something like that, but you can see that the way they tighten these things on, use a 10 mil. It's
Yeah,
actually
just
probably
a couple bolts, or a couple of nuts and a bolt. Sometimes the quickest and simplest solutions are the best, but this one, it's just a little bit inadequate for the 33 engines that we're going to see.
Oh my god, who did
And
that?
speaking of which, that should be what, this
Who did
week?
that? I don't like it.
They just painted
I,
everything.
I
No,
didn't do
it's
it.
the wrap. It's the wrap that I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on. It looked like I don't even know how you paint something like that. That's
You
wrapped in
spray it.
what?
But I don't know
Well,
how they avoided this center part. They must have taken it off. They
I hope
covered it
the
up.
static fire melts all of that away. Actually, no. I'll take that back. Sorry. I just don't like the way that looks because I remember the way it looked before they took it apart, um, and it was a little better than that. But
They
yeah,
painted around or underneath that. That's interesting.
it looks like the yellow tarp that was underneath the table got wrapped around this and then painted over.
Well, this panel's new, so that's a change from last week.
Yeah, that's weird. They just added a random panel on here, but they like the bracket was already there, but this panel wasn't. And I can't remember if there's anything behind that. I don't. Oh, there's another valve underneath this actually. Um, there's a valve going back the other direction. So maybe they're just covering up the valve for some reason, protecting the bottom of it from fires.
It looks like they're
But
actually going to do the same thing going up too.
that would be cool. I mean, that's what I'm hoping is that we'll see more brackets like this that lead to more paneling. I mean, they did add this one down here, but it looks like that was just to support this pipe. And then this pipe, um, I don't think this is supporting the pipe. I think this is,
Supported just that cover.
yeah, just the cover. Like that's probably how they lifted it up there in the
It's
first
not
place.
even bolted all the way in.
No, yeah. Um, but yeah, just waiting for more brackets down here. Still haven't seen anything, but the actual pipework itself appears to be complete, which is a good sign.
I just want to see more covers, all the as much of the pipe work as possible because it's like that is the most fragile thing on here. That's the most dangerous.
Imagine having to
Um,
redo all of this. Well, I don't think they'll cover this part.
oh
So,
no, they won't ever cover this area. But like, I would love to see the third table because the second table it's going to make the improvements that this one made, and it's going to be have its own improvements. And that third table, um, it's going to be so much cleaner looking, I expect, than this or anything else. It's going to function and have the form correct.
don't get me wrong, I love this launch mount, but still, I would be excited to see the next version of it. What is this? Oops,
The ladder
random
or
beam going up. I've never seen that before.
oh, that's
Just a
weird.
random pole. Anyway, sorry, distraction right there. Um, but yeah, last thing that I noticed this week, we are still missing an HPU.
We
So
need that before that static fire that we're expecting.
yeah, they're no longer connected to the hydraulics using the pump down below, but yeah, still don't have an HPU, no HPU cover. So
Yeah, we
um,
suspect that the HPUs are actually have an interesting function. They both work together, but if one of them goes, they still work. So it's basically twice the power and redundancy as well. But you do need this if you're going to do any static fires. You want to test like you fly.
agreed. Yeah. I think we already looked at this image, just showing that wall. Um, I think that is most of the updates that I had for this week. I don't know, Thomas, if you had anything that I didn't touch on.
If we did we've already skipped over it. I don't remember what it is, but we do have probably some questions or other things we could probably go over. So Mauricio, do you have those ready for us?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. We have a couple of donations first. First one's from Sharpie, $2. Woohoo! 600 likes. Thank you for that. By the way, we actually reached 1,000 viewers, so big milestone.
Yes.
at one point. We're back to 963 right now, but definitely a good sign that the streams are getting more popular. So make sure you share the stream with somebody you know. We really do appreciate that. Another donation from Rocket Profit here for $10 for 600 likes, and I believe he also gifted some membership. So just give him some thanks for that if you're one of the recipients. Jim Cavett, $5. Good job again, RGV aerial photography. Thank you, Jim. Let's see here. 55 Chevy guy, $5. Awesome picks. Thank you, 55 Chevy guy. Cosmic, $5. Congrats on the show growing. Thank you. And Mario Elf, $10. Thanks, guys. You always keep it interesting. Thank you for that. Rocket Profit, another $10 donation for 700 likes. And we actually had a PayPal donation from Noise Conformist, $50 PayPal donation. He actually gifted it a couple of days ago, so I'm just going to read that out right now. And then we do have quite a few questions. So let's see here from Robert G. He asked this early.
Really quick. Oh, go ahead.
Do we know if they're still building a third launch tower? If so, where will it be?
Well, so we know, at least on paper, the current launch sites. So we have 39A, which is obviously under construction. We have or let's say 49, which is 2 launch sites. That's on paper. Then we have Phobos and Deimos, and then we also have the second orbital launch mount at Boca. So we have a total of 7. We have seen the third orbital launch mount at Hangar M in aerial shots. So Harry Stranger's got a bunch of those, and they're just satellite views and things like that. But there is a third launch table, basically either ready or being built over at Hangar M. The second one is at Hangar M as well, and it looks really good as far as like the 3 little pictures I've seen that are just peeks at it.
Still waiting for somebody to discover Elon Musk island lair where he has a secret launch site there.
Yeah, they're going full bore on these launch sites because you need as many as possible for redundancy, for the amount of cargo and launches that you need. This is the world's largest rocket, so you need to have them in multiple locations. And the best is when they get to the sea launch part, because it's like once you do sea launches, you go out into like 20 miles off the coast or more, and you just launch that
Yeah,
rocket as soon as you
that's
want.
free and clear. You can do as much as you want out there.
You only have to have the marine traffic cleared and the FAA to clear the airspace along that corridor. Those 2 things, and you're good. You don't have to worry about a lot of other issues.
I am very interested in their rapid response military launches where they're going to build that launch pad at.
I mean, it's all of them in a sense, but you would want it probably at like pad 40. So we've been talking about this for a while, like the idea that they have a crew access arm that they're building for Falcon 9 will be at pad 40. That's already underway, but they have the capability right now to build a Starship integration tower, or at least part of it. So they kind of overbuild it for now, just for a crew access arm for Falcon 9. And then later on, they just keep that same tower and change out their launch infrastructure from Falcon to Starship when they're ready. And there's your rapid response center, as well as a bunch of other cool things, and maybe a reusable crew access arm that just needs to be moved up a few levels.
All right, we got a couple more questions here.
Thing really quick before you do that, so I'm not staying on this image. I just wanted to show that these hoses coming down from the basically Raptor chill connections underneath here. So these are what connect to the engines, and so it's kind of like the first time we've seen that. And if you guys look at this image, this one's actually from Starship Gazer. This shows these little bolts that are on the bottom over here. I'm pretty positive that these come off. They're just caps. And so the other, the hoses actually connect to these instead of reaching through the engine shielding like they used to. So they are still using those connections as of right now. Yeah. All right. That was all. Let's continue.
Okay, so while you're on this, I will make one other comment or theory they are changing out a lot of Raptors. They seem to be all our boosts, and it seems like they are related directly to this problem, as if they are changing the configuration for the R boosts, and then they are just replacing the Raptors and attaching them to ship. I'm sorry, Booster 7. And it looks like they're going to replace like all 20 of them.
Well, that
But
would be
that's just my
interesting. How
theory.
many have they
So
replaced
we'll
so
see.
far?
I think there's been like 5 or 6 so far.
Really? I thought there was only 3.
Oh, maybe I just keep seeing the same updates repeatedly, but it feels like it's 5 or 6. Like to have a confirmation to figure out exactly the numbers so far of replaced Raptors,
Um,
and that's since the last static fire. That's the other part of this,
oh, look at this.
or
Jeff
the WDR. Sorry,
Jeff sent me some footage really quick that we can check out.
this is from NerdleCam.
Yep.
Are we checking the lift?
Yeah, it looks like they got that pipe in there. You could see the if this play bar would get out of the way, you could see the all the gas canisters on the ground.
There it goes. Okay, so the end is faced toward the tower so far, but it's rotating, rotating. Oh, which way does it go?
Cap towards us.
That's what I'm thinking. There we go. There we go. So it looks like we are confirmed that nitrogen tanks are on this side.
On facing us.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff, for sending that. All right. Sorry, Mauricio, let's continue with the questions.
Yeah, let me get these donations in. Friday Ray, $2 for the ladder fund. Thanks for the great work you do. I think that's for Thomas, right? And
Yeah, working our way up.
we got James L, $5. Can't wait for the launch. Thank you for the donations and the support and the likes for today. And going back to the questions, has by Silver Surf's stream, has there been a consideration to staggering the firing of the inner and outer engines to reduce possible damage to the launch pad?
They do stagger them. They don't all come on at the same time, so they come on in a pattern.
It takes like between 2 to 3 seconds for them all to start up and be at the full thrust that you need for launch.
I'd like to point out though that the Starship and Super Heavy Booster at maximum weight and at maximum thrust are going to lift off the pad like a bat out of hell. It's as fast as the shuttle got off the pad. So they have plenty of margin to reduce that thrust a good bit in the first few seconds to save the pad. So it's an option. They got margins for that, but not for long.
Yeah, it's a question of how long do you sit there? Like you could literally hover there if you wanted to, which would destroy the pad. It would take forever to get off. But if you get out there quicker, you can destroy the pad because it's just too much thrust.
The problems these guys have to deal with.
Yes.
Man, so much fun.
Yeah, and it only takes like 7 seconds if you're doing a thrust rate ratio of about 1.5 for it to clear the tower. Like that's how fast it takes. Is once it leaves the launch mount, you're seeing it pass the tower in about 7 seconds.
We got some new brackets, Thomas.
I know. I saw that. I was just like,
Yeah.
yes.
This is before and this is after. So we may get some covers. I think we're getting some covers here.
And you see how it just goes straight up if you
Yeah.
attach to there. Oh, I'm loving it.
First sign we got.
Because if it covers the bottom and covers, that's the big one, is like everything below it. The
Yep.
side, it's good, but the bottom's the big one. And if you can cover the side, I'm extremely happy about that too. It's even better if the covers are removable so that you can access inside or do inspections or replace parts or pipe work.
I'm guessing we'll see them add them on these other ones as well, and probably all the way around because these same. Well, no, the brackets on the ones on the backside look a little different, but yeah, I would expect to see them continue that. That'll be interesting thing to look out for. Sorry, guys.
We
Oh,
got
that's
another.
exciting. I love the covers.
All right, the next question here is from Itnes or aka Senti. Is there any other examples of a deluge that uses LN2 for back pressure? Aren't deluge traditionally gravity fed for safety reasons?
Well, so 39A has both. So you have apparently a deluge system that is the gravity fed part, but then they also have something to do with nitrogen. So there's a company in Colorado Springs that works on that specific part, that they do back pressure for nitrogen. And I'm not sure if they did this in the shuttle area as well, but that's part of what the 39A system uses for the Falcon 9. So it uses both those systems.
Right. And that's not that there's two possibilities, one less likely than the other, but there's the possibility of using that pressure to force the water out. And then there's the possibility of it just being a surge tank, which is kind of what we're leaning towards. The surge tank is basically like a water hammer arrestor.
Yeah, another part to talk about is we're bringing up that bizarre tank at 39A. It's the double wall tank. A reason why you would double wall it is you are basically kind of doing an onion. You're doing a pressure tank inside of a pressure tank. That would give you even more pressure, so you can basically just slam it with nitrogen, for instance, and push out as much of that water as you possibly can through those pipes. I kind of hope we do the same thing here. That would be so awesome.
Agreed.
The next question is from Yanis Petropolis. Will the deluge system be ready for the launch?
Not if it needs another water tank.
Yeah, if it needs another water tank, we're talking it's like 6 months at a minimum.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's almost enough time for a test launch.
We could be launching in July, just like Elon was wanting.
I
What was
thought,
it, 2 or 3 years later?
hey, look,
Wow.
it's Gwen who said we'll launch in August. That could still prove true.
Oof.
Oh no.
I don't like you guys. I'm hoping it's much sooner than that.
Just no water tank, just for the launch. We can replace the Fondag after the launch.
Yeah.
We've got
Fine.
Can we appreciate for 1 second that the first Methalox to space might be the Vulcan Centaur after all? We're like, no, never.
Whoa. I'm not going that far. I mean, yeah, it's a possibility, but yeah.
that would be amazing to watch as well. Like these rockets are amazing. The Methalox versions, the Terran 1 as well.
Yeah.
I think that's the other one. I think that was the option for launch, and it's like that they were ready a couple of weeks ago, and it's like I'm still hoping for them. Their rocket is so innovative, and it's like all 3D printed. It's like, okay, you need a new rocket, just change the designs and print out a new one. That is just such an incredible concept of design, that it's so rapid and iterative. Eventually, they may change to some more standard parts, but for now, it's like that's the way to go.
I think we'll do the last question now from Mark K. Are all 33 Raptor engines required to be at full throttle for takeoff at the ground level, or does it increase with altitude?
Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah, we
but,
don't know. I feel like if the most likely point of all for it to be at max throttle is right before it takes off. But also, does Falcon 9 throttle up after it leaves the pad?
It throttles up after max Q, so it throttles
down.
up and then it slows down and then it throttles back up, because it's just you're just trying to force your way through, and that's just a problem.
I feel like the booster is going to be at max thrust it's through its entire flight profile.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
Elon is indicated that's what he wants. So that's why we need the nose cone jail. It's going to take the brunt of the impact right there on that nose cone, and you need to know it's going to be able to survive this. Oh, there's a oh, that's the 90, isn't it? Dang
Yeah.
it.
It's a pat. At least we know there's more of them still.
Yeah. Wait, what is that below it? Oh, there's the kettle boilers.
Yeah, there's the Hippo.
Yeah, the one for a suborbital farm.
Yeah, this thing has been sitting around forever. You can see that the insulation is just almost gone. It's got too much UV damage.
Put it out of its misery.
isn't what it looked like before?
It looked like that apparently, but it's just a lot of insulation. It's a lot thinner than you think it is.
Yeah.
And then the other Hippo is just to the left of that.
Oh man.
So
No,
this is the thrust.
don't do it. All right, fine, Thomas, go ahead.
This is probably the thrust part for the nose cone jail. So you have like 3 hydraulic rams, maybe 4. It's a little bit different from the previous iteration.
But it could also be a thrust ram tester for the suborbital farm, the cryo station. But I guess
You'd have to lift the vehicle and put it on a test stand. So
Wait, you
there's that.
mean, well, it could be for Massey's too, right?
good point. You'd have to lift the vehicle.
So if you lift the vehicle on a test stand, yes, absolutely, you could do puck shucking with that.
Never mind. All right. Well, I suppose we can wrap the show up today. Or did we have more questions we want to touch on? I need to get lunch, truthfully, myself. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's we're gonna be celebrating Valentine's and making cookies in my house, so I gotta run too.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, I guess I will say my goodbyes. Thank you to everybody for a fantastic show. We appreciate all of you helping us get over 1,000 viewers for the first time. So that was awesome. I don't know what we're after likes, but if you guys want to do us a favor and hit that like button before you leave today, that would be much appreciated. And once again, I'm really glad we got this flyover in. It was a little tough 2 weeks only doing ground images, at least for me. Yeah, I will see you all next week and pass it off to Grandpa or Thomas.
Thank you, Zach. It's been an amazing week again. So much stuff we went through. Definitely subscribe to the Patreon if you haven't, because that's where you get all the ground photos and some amazing aerial photos that we haven't gotten through every detail. There's plenty more to go through. It's been an amazing week. We'll see you again next week. Go ahead. I guess we'll actually grab Dave before you, Grandpa Joe.
Okay, well, I will certainly say thank you to everybody for making 1,000, and thanks to everybody that retweeted the stream. I saw Jessica Kirsch do it, and hope everybody else gets some retweets of the stream out and gets more viewership on it. And with that, I think I will pass it to Grandpa Joe.
All right. Well, guys, we have a couple of exciting weeks ahead of us and hopefully a launch in a month or two. Till then.
Abort.
You want
to get Mauricio in?
Of course. I was kind of wondering, did he say goodbye already and I missed it?
I don't think he really did.
Mauricio, he doesn't like to talk on the air much anyway. No, Mauricio, go ahead. All yours, bud.
They forgot about me. That's what I was thinking.
No.
That's Dave's fault.
No, it's my fault. I threw it to Dave to then grab Joe, but yeah, go ahead, Mauricio.
No, that's fine. I want to thank everybody out there taking photos of Starbase. It's definitely hard work, and thanks for supporting the photographers that are doing this, and the support for our Patreon and memberships and donations for today. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and Grandpa Joe, you're next.
All right. Let the good times roll. Laissez le bon temps rouler. And with that, main engine cut off, stage separation confirmed. Love you. Bye.